Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. Tonight, we give you the coverage of the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Arts Production. This evening, we get to test the skills out at Iowa. Welcome to Iowa Week, as both the leagues that we cover will be racing at this course, Iowa Speedway, just under a mile in length course. It is a tough one. Bumpy is going to be the word that we use a lot here this evening as the Trinity Racing League gets ready for race number 4, as this race will be the Racing Paradise 150 here at Iowa. Excited to give you the racing coverage here this evening again on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Samuel Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. And Zach, 4th race of the season. So far, we've had 4 different pole sitters, 4 different winners. Do you think the trend continues on here tonight, or are we expected one of our past pole sitters or winners to start dominating here this evening?
You know, I have a feeling we're going to see a new one here tonight, Sam. It's just so much parity in this league, so much talent, so many drivers involved in it that, I mean, we're having go home qualifying technically. So it's gonna be fun to see when that gets into that session. Of course, we're still in practice right now, but when I have 44 drivers possibly competing for 43 spots, I mean, it just shows you how tough it is in this league. You know, your spot might not even be safe. So you got to come out here firing on all cylinders. And tonight, the real first test of a short track.
Yeah, first true test. 44 drivers have registered in for tonight's race, but only 43 get to take the grid. One of the last drivers to register up was Patrick Hernandez. Now, Hernandez, during the end of practice, has disconnected from the server, yet to get reconnected in. We'll wait to see if the 41 will even be able to qualify, as he looks to be the bubble driver at this time, that we yet to know what pace Hernandez has. Rest of the field, though, they know the goal: put down a fast time, because if Hernandez gets back into the lobby, you could be on the line of missing out on tonight's race here at Iowa, and all drivers will be given 2 laps to put down their fastest time, but only 5 minutes to do so. You hit the wall, you spin out into the grass, you'll find your lap being invalidated. Also, some new things. Last week, we had a couple of new drivers having their debut race. One of those, Merrick Watchhorn, has stepped away from racing in the Trinity Racing League after just 1 race, but taking his spot, a driver that we have gotten well known in multiple different leagues that we've covered here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, currently going for the hunt for a championship on Wednesday nights. Gavin Rogers, going to be the newest name added to the Trinity Racing League on Monday nights, and excited to see Gavin out there on track, different car. And Zach, obviously, when we look at Gavin, doesn't matter what vehicle he's in, he's going to be a favorite entering in here tonight, and needs a strong run if he wants to propel himself into a playoff hunt.
No doubt, Sam. Yeah, Gavin, one of the most talented drivers we see here on Freaky Fast for sure, and he's going to be right in the mix, I think, from the get-go. I know that he probably doesn't have the most experience in this car at the moment, but I tell you, good drivers adapt quickly. We've already seen the adaptation of a few drivers just in this early part of this season. So I'm expecting to see that 75 well and true towards the front half of that field, and definitely compete for possible victories. But the qualifying is usually where he's strong, so we'll get to see who can hold it right now. As last week's winner right now atop the board, Justin Campbell carrying that momentum.
A huge momentum run for himself, coming off the win from Homestead. Justin Campbell still top of the board by 3/1000ths of a second over Isaac Shelley, who is also a well-known racer. Shelley, Iowa in the past has been one of his stronger oval racetracks, so I'm not shocked to see that 98 top of the board. Ryan Bird with another strong run. He's been a driver exciting to see, but it's the dirt track specialist Mason Cassidy in the 82 top of the board. Gavin Rogers coming up second on the board, as here's going to be Travis Downing. He's going to spin out off the exit at turn 4. That's going to be a trouble spot all throughout here tonight off the exit, but a driver who wants to find momentum for himself. The 24 of Ali Fonseca starting to get qualifying ready. As I'm still looking, Patrick Hernandez still yet to get back into the server, so all 43 drivers are expected to qualify, should make it in, but there are some names that try to qualify. Time did not count. Ethan Delaire going to be one of the drivers. His lap did not count, and he is eligible to get knocked out of qualifying, as he must qualify his way in. So if Patrick Hernandez gets in and even just puts a slow lap in, that could be knocking out the 22.
Oh yeah, this could be wild to see here for sure. We'll see if anybody gets in the session here to cause that. But right at the moment, still Cassidy holding the top spot, but it was Thomas Green who shot up the second. So Great lap time for him. Isaac Shelley able to slot up into the top 5. Also, a great time for Ryan Bird. I think Bird will be happy with that 6th place qualifying time so far. As we'll see if that can hold as Fonseca here on that second lap, where we've seen most people pick up the time, and we'll see if Fonseca can here, going from a 24:16 down to a 23:47. That's going to jump him all the way up to 3rd.
And I'm curious if Ollie had just ripped it all the way down to the bottom, how much more time he could have picked up, and would have it been pole, as he'll take 3rd place currently. Cody Reed only able to try to get 1 lap in, but both laps will be invalidated for the 88, so he will sit back and watch as the lap times clock in. Multiple drivers not even able to get a qualifying lap in for themselves. Missing out on qualifying time is going to be Ethan Delaire, Cody Reed, and also Travis Downing. Cody Smith's trying to get at least 1 lap in. Patrick Hernandez still yet to put a qualifying lap down. As drivers are looking for their pole time, it's still Mason Cassidy top of the board. Larry Yingling hoping to be the driver that could steal that top spot. The 67 not even going to be close. He's 28th on the board. And Zach, a shocker, the trend continues. Our 5th different pole sitter of the season, going to be Mason Cassidy for himself.
What a job by Cassidy to put a lap together in a good little bit too. I mean, him and Thomas Green well ahead of the field there, but that was great times from everybody. Steven, to 28 there. Tyler Horn tries to put his lap down, and he'll be 37th on the board for him.
As drivers are finishing up their times, again, 4 drivers not able to get any qualifying times in. Ethan Delaire, Cody Reed, Travis Downing, and Patrick Hernandez did not even attempt a time. We'll see how the admins want to deem it. Most likely it's going to be the drivers that attempted a qualifying time that are going to be placed into this race, as Hernandez, again, not even in the server currently. But Zach, kind of crazy to say. We had our chase, we had the duels, we had the actual Daytona race, Atlanta Homestead. We're going to be having our 2nd race of the season with 43 drivers here this evening to be racing. Exciting thing to see. Usually it's after maybe the 2nd or 3rd race, maybe we'll fall down. We won't hit that max number, but we got to see a little bit of knockout qualifying as we're here into the warm-ups. And here's what the point standings look like entering tonight. Again, that cutoff line is 16th. It'll be the big number we continue to look at throughout the season. But we look at the top drivers. It's some of the drivers we expect to be up there. I think Joshua Kanata, one of the bigger surprises, and Stephen Clapp as well in our top 5.
It really has been a big surprise for those two to be up there, because if you look at their average running position, it hasn't been a strong season, but it's where they're finishing. No stage points here at Trinity, so you don't have to worry about where you are in the middle portion of the race. It's all about that finish, and that's what Kanata and Clapp have definitely been doing well. But if you look past that 16th place cutoff line, there's some big names. I mean, you got the likes of Larry Yingling, Thomas Green, Ryan Bird. I mean, Christopher Norris, missing out a race. He's coming back tonight, I believe. Mason Cassidy, our pole sitter, back in 30th. So there's a lot of big names back here that could be looking to move forward, and it's all about those finishes, Sam. That's where these drivers really got to focus on. They could be running great all night, but if you don't bring the finish home, it doesn't matter.
And it's such a mindset switch that you have to have from racing stage racing to non-stage racing. Sometimes it takes a while for drivers to really get that sense, and we're seeing it early on, drivers that have really found their footing. For the point standings, let's take a closer look at the schedule and how it's been so far. Like I said, we had the Clash to initially start the season off, then the duels, then we had our actual Daytona race at week 3, then we had Atlanta, a spectacular race for Jared Talmadge that found himself at a victory lane, and then last week, Justin Campbell coming away with the tire strategy call late to blitz his way through the field to come away with the win. It was awesome to watch. And I've been hearing drivers say similar tire wear thoughts going to be here tonight. You have to make sure you keep your tires underneath you. I think that's going to be a key factor, as we've got Iowa here tonight, going to be Kentucky next week. And then we head to the Chicago Street Course. That's going to be the biggest what is going to happen race, I think, on the schedule.
That is very, very true. Yeah, you look at that Chicago Street Course, that is going to be so fun. I'm jealous of that. I really want to be in a car for that one, because that is going to be a blast out there driving, not only, but I think from up here our standpoint, it's going to be even more exciting just to see them attack that course. And then you got Martinsville in 2 weeks. So we'll see how that all works out, Sam, as the schedule is definitely going to be a fun one.
And I was listening to the admins. Martinsville might be an asterisk. If we have a poor race here tonight, Martinsville could be on the X, and we could be seeing a different track take that spot. That is something to watch out for, I think, for the drivers here this evening, as they have also lessened the amount of laps we'll be running here tonight. It was originally scheduled for 175 laps. It is now docked down to 150. And there's some drivers to watch out for. On with it being shorter, will it help drivers have better qualifying positions? But I think here tonight, Zach, the big talking point is Gavin Rogers. I think there was rumblings coming around that he was going to race on Mondays, and he obviously was going to be the driver of note to watch out for. He's my pick. He's your pick. I don't even know if Robert picked him, but Gavin Rogers, the driver to watch out for, because if he makes it in with a win here tonight and great performances, he could be the heavy favorite to head for this championship this season.
Oh, that's awesome. Folks, before the race, we always talk about our picks. And I'm like, Sam, who you picking? He's like, you'll find out. Well, I guess we were thinking alike. Yeah, he's such a big name. He's so good at qualifying, so, raw talented that, I think he's going to be one to watch. Maybe he might not win tonight, but just watch that 75. He is going to be a factor in this series. And, of course, we see Robert's pick. I think that's a good one also, Sam.
Yeah, it's going to be fan favorite of Joshua Stovall out there in the one machine with the wide open throttle racing team. And that one, I've been watching in practice. He's been a very stable top 5 driver. Whenever they've been doing what we like to call, little restarts with one another and trying to get in big packs, he's staying out of trouble. He's trying to be one of the fastest drivers up front, and he could be a threat for at least a top 5, maybe even if the win, if the tires line up. But tonight's race, again, I want to say thank you to everyone that's joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're excited to give you racing action of the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Arts Production. Tonight's race is going to be sponsored by Racing Paradise for the Racing Paradise 150. If you're looking for some great quality on seeing some podcasts talking about amazing racing, head on over to Racing Paradise. Racing Paradise is your racing content creators, anything from short track racing to sim racing. Get on over to check out their multiple different podcasts covering different topics, from their Box Banter podcast to their Short Shoot podcast talking about short tracks in all things from ARCA, car tour, and more. Go check out their 2 other podcasts. Again, that's the Box Banter and the Short Shoot podcast. We'll talk about those podcasts a little bit more later on in the race, but it is time for us to take a look at our 43 drivers that are going to be racing here tonight at Iowa. I want to say thank you to our pole sitter sponsor, Blazing Fast TV. Head on over to Blazing Fast TV on YouTube and Twitch to take a look at Dakota Moniz's point of view during the race and all the other video games that he plays as well. We also want to say thank you to our grid sponsor, Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios. Go to Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios on Instagram to see all of their varieties from full color tattoos, stickers, paints, and more. Taking your Blazing Fast TV Pole Sitter Award, it's going to be a new one this season. Welcome to the history books. It's Mason Cassidy in the 82 taking the top spot with Thomas Green in second. Third, we're going to find the 24 Polly Fonseca with the debut running of the 75 of Gavin Rogers. Last week's winner in 5th place is Justin Campbell with Isaac Shelley back in 6th. Ryan Bird, great qualifying time for 49. We'll see if he can hold on to that position as he starts 7th. 8th is Vincent Sora in the 15. Jared Talmadge back down in 9th. And it's going to be Robert's pick back in finishing up our top 10.
Starting in 11th is the 81 of Jesse Newsom. Alongside him in 12th is the 33 of Malik Kuntz. Aaron Krolick going to start in 13th, with 14th being held by Noah Steele. The 85 of Samuel Garcia, he'll start 15th, with 16th going to the 83 of Colton Jordan. 17th is going to be Ethan Smith with Danny Cochran starting back here in 18th. 19th is going to be the return of Christopher Norris this week, and rounding out our top 20 going to be his teammate Cedric Hunter.
In 21st, it's the 30 of Ryan Kelly. In 22nd position, it's the 16 of Joshua Kanata. Ryan Ferraro will be starting all the way down in 23rd, with Nicholas Runner back in 24th. Mark Labertone in the 44th, good qualifying time for himself, will be back in 25th position, with Steve Clapp, who's in our top 5 of points. He'll be starting back in 26th. Justin Smith going to be in 27th, with 28th. Even Larry Yingling, surprising qualifying time for that 67. Dakota Moniz is going to be our Pole Sitter Award of Blazing Fast TV. He'll be starting in 29th, and finishing out our top 30, it's the 7 of Cody Smith.
Starting 31st, it'll be the 14 car of Jesse Thornock. Alongside him in 32nd, it'll be Jacob T. Morris. 33rd is going to be Isaac Reimer with the 9 car of Martin Morales starting in 34th. 35th is going to be Nolan Hicks with 36 going to Michael Miller. 37th is going to be Tyler Horn. 38th is going to be the 87th Gary Wells. 39th is Maurice Gomillion. And rounding our top 40, it's Austin Halsey.
Then our final three drivers are going to be racing here tonight. Cody Reed in the 88 back in 41st position, Ethan Delaire in 42nd, and Travis Downing in the 43 able to make it in. Admins made the call. Hernandez didn't attempt a time, so he will not be able to race. But we got 43 drivers ready for 150 laps here this evening. Oh, we've got a halfway bonus point if you're leading at the end of lap 75. Congratulations, got 1 bonus point for yourself. We have 0 fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires. Fuel expected to just be a 1-stop here tonight, but we'll see if tires make you pit any sooner. A few drivers will be sent to the end of the line with multiple different penalties being given out. Starting with Ali Fonseca in the 24, he had himself a choosing violation. Ryan Ferraro, ARCA braking. Justin Campbell for a choosing violation. Cody Smith intentionally bringing out a caution. Isaac Reimer with an ARCA brake. Mark Labertone, ARCA brake. And as well, Christopher Norris, penalty from Atlanta, all given end of the line penalties start out here tonight. A lot of penalties given out means it could be a long night for some of those drivers sent to the back. But up front, it's the 82 of Mason Cassidy, known for dirt racing, but he's been learning and growing on the oval side. He found the pace to get that top spot of our Blazing Fast TV Pull Award. Now, can he hold on as we are ready for Green Flag Racing? Your Racing Paradise 150 is underway. It's going to be Thomas Green at 3 on the outside, Cassidy to the inside as they roar down into turn number 1.
Excellent start from the outside lane from the 3 of Green, and he's going to pull away here on the top side and take control of the lead down the back straight. Give that lead to Thomas Green, as now the battle for third rages on with Gavin Rogers and Ryan Bird with an amazing start on the bottom.
And drivers already attempting the third line off the exit turn number 4. That's going to be seeing Shelley in the 98 ripping the outside. Rogers stuck in the middle and Bird on the inside. Seeing already dominance on the outside groove, but driver said you can make early passes, but those tires going to be important. Bird, Rogers contact. Bird goes slide to the inside, locks it down, doesn't hit the wall luckily, but Bird, watch out, don't back up too far. Woo! Almost getting contact there late.
That was very close to contact late, and this is a unfortunate incident that's going to happen between these guys, and it's going to be kind of some 3-wide racing, but I also think Rogers may have been a little bit even loose off of 2 here in the middle of these race cars. So when we get a second look, it's just one of the situations that racing off of 2 sometimes, especially if you're coming over that hump, there's a little bump on the exit 2 that can really cause a lot of issues. You see right here, this is the battle what was for third for that yellow, and Bird on that inside in the 49. You see Shelley around the top. He's going to really use that momentum. He's going to clear both of them down into 1 and 2. Or you're going to see the 27 of Talmadge kind of sneak up there, get a quarter panel on that 75, so he can't go all the way up. He's actually going to get a little loose there, and it's just going to all kind of come together. It was just 3 cars going for 1 spot, and unfortunately Bird going to lose all that track position. Is, like you said, Sam, so close to being a disaster there when he backed up.
I was so nervous. That was Mark Labertone in the 44 as he was unsure of how to slow down in that moment, and was worried about the 38 to his outside when drivers were slowing up when that yellow flag was thrown, and went with an aggressive surge to the inside outside. I was luckily no one else caught up in incidents. Ryan Bird, though, will be going to pit road. Same for Justin Campbell. They'll check to see how much damage is there. I'm curious for Bird if, with how long that slide was, if he's going to be just checking on the tires or if he will take a fresh set of tires. Drivers are given 4 extra sets to work with here this evening. And Zach, obviously you don't want to use one of those 4 sets in the first 4 laps of this race.
Yeah, I think exactly what happened there is Bird is just going to come down. I think more or less can get a look at the tires, see how much damage is done, because when we come down the pit road, folks, you do get a reading back from the tires you get, and it tells you how much percentage your wear percentage, your tire temperatures, and your tire pressures. So you can kind of get a picture of, okay, my tires are already a good bit messed up. I need to work on this, because like you said, Sam, he's not going to take those tires because just way too early to be doing that. As some drivers flirting with that edge on that right there, on that choose line.
I was talking to the admins about it, there really wasn't a picture or a definitive spot where they said, okay, this is your choose line. So drivers, I don't think a lot of them really are sure where the choose line is. I think they're just going to make a judgment call of here or there, and that's where they're going to go. And so a lot of drivers are going to be curious on, will they get penalized or not, if there really isn't a defined line.
Yeah, that is definitely always the situation. And I believe also I may be spouting lies here, but I believe in the latest blog for the devs. I believe that's something that is coming in the future is the choose. So hopefully this will be something, a feature we get at some point, because it puts a lot of stress on these admins having to make the right calls of, oh, did this guy get a penalty or did this guy? I mean, this time is actually the choose. So that makes sense why some people weren't really darting left and right, right?
Yeah, that's why they're being a lot more of, all right, inside, outside. That one might be a little bit questionable. They were told that the seam in the middle is where they're supposed to go. But again, drivers are picking and choosing where they want to be, outside, inside, based off those early runs. The outside seemed to be the better place to be if you want to make some early, tackling of positions. But do you want to attack early? Or do you want to save your tires for the potential long run? As there is no official stage racing, there's no stage caution. We could go flag to flag from here to the end. Field is stacked up. They're side by side. They're ready to go back to green flag racing. And taking the inside groove is Thomas Green. He's not sticking with the outside. So the three feeling like he's in a lot more control to get a better launch than what Mason Gassity did on that initial go. Pace car into pit road, into the restart zone, and in the racing paradise, 150 is back underway, and Thomas Green with a fabulous launch. Shelley with a great launch as well, and it is on who can get up front as Green drops immediately to the yellow line.
Great start from him, able to control the wheel spin very well, as now yellow flag's going to immediately come out. Looks like Jacob T. Morris maybe, or, oh no, sorry.
That was Gary Wells in the 87 going for a slide. And the 87 might have got a little bit of help on this one from the 99 of Michael Miller. Which I know for Miller, he's not happy on where he qualified. He was very quick during the practice runs, didn't qualify well. And in the 87 gets tapped and spun around. So we will be getting this replay here shortly as see the driver stacking up on this restart. Immediately it's going into turn one where we're going to see this wreck happen. And Zach, I know for a lot of drivers, especially at short tracks, the braking zones, they're different for some drivers. And we're going to see a major difference for different mentalities of how you want to head into turn one on initial restart.
I completely agree, Sam. This is one of those cases. And, you see Gary Wells here. I think he's also just in the mindset of, I'm pretty far back here. I'm going to take it kind of easy into one. And you saw he lifted early with the flames coming out of the tailpipe. But Michael Miller in the 99 clearly was looking to go a little bit deeper, which you can go deeper. So, it's tough sometimes in those scenarios to not run into somebody, but just heavy into the back end. That was a quick little spin the biggest yell out, as you'll see right here from the rear bumper cam. Just that little shot, and that's all it takes with how much low grip this track is with these race cars.
Yeah, talking to the drivers, watching practice, there is a very fine line of having the maximum amount of grip and not having any at all on the entry of the corners and the exit. And that's kind of what drivers are going to be having a teeter-totter of going back and forth. How aggressive do I want to be? Do I want to back off? And that dilemma is going to be an all-around question as drivers up front get ready to go back to green flag racing here. I want to again say thank you to the major sponsors. We got a lot of sponsors that have partnered up with the Trinity Racing League for their inaugural season here for this group of drivers. Now, the Trinity Racing League was a league that was branched off from multiple different leagues that have ran on Monday nights in the past, and all have decided, hey, let's partner up to continue on racing on Monday nights. And partnering up with sponsors wise, we want to say thank you to the major one, the title sponsor, Larry Arts Production, who has been a primary sponsor, I would say, throughout majority of the Monday night series that we've called here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting with this core group of drivers. If you want to go see some great comedy variety YouTube channels, head on over to Larry Art Productions on YouTube and all of his social medias. He does a lot of different fun videos, from short stop motion videos to vlogs, do a lot of food reviews. Check out Larry Arts Productions today as we get prepared for the choose here tonight.
We will get prepared for this choose and see where these drivers are going to elect to go. I think the bottom side, when you have that control like Green had on that last restart, the bottom works really, really well. So I think you'll see him choose maybe back low here. And I think Isaac Shelley, of course, is going to take the top. So seeing Vincent Sora make his way up to third, and some late decisions there. Shelley going to decide to go bottom. Now Vincent Sora, that's going to put him to the front row. We're following Jarrett Talmadge is going to be on the outside there too. So it's always interesting with this choose because you can actually make up so many spots. We saw a week ago, not many people lined up on the outside line, and the next thing you know, the tires were way closer than we thought they were going to be because nobody lined up top there. So this does open up the doors for possibilities of passes and getting those spots ready. Michael Miller almost destroys his car.
Almost. He's having a rough start to Iowa here tonight. That's 99. Obviously, like I said, much prefer to be up front, but feeling the pain of being further on back. As the drivers up front, they're stacked up, they're ready to go. Lap number 11 here tonight. And we'll see how long can we stay green this go around. As into the restart zone, iRacing Paradise 150 is back underway. Thomas Green, Vincent Sora. Sora's going to give space for the 3 as the teammates try to work together, but Shelley trying to keep it close. But off the exit of the corner, it's all Thomas Green, Vincent Sora, and Shelley looking good for the battle for second.
Definitely great battles going on as Green able to get a really good restart once again, but it's really starting to be right around that 14th to 15th position with Ethan Smith back here, Cedric Hunter, that group. I'm seeing a lot of swapping of positions back and forth and little, looks to the inside and outside of each other.
You can see how close they're willing to race. Malik Kuntz going to be shuffled to the outside for a quick moment as that pink 13 of Cedric Hunter trying to find his way to get around the 0, which is a little small number 2 next to it. That's Danny Cochran, who's going to be underneath the 13 of Hunter that he's right on board with. You can just see how quickly these drivers are shuffling back and forth as your hot lap designs fastest lap given to the 98 of Isaac Shelley that rips it away from Thomas Green as they cross the line there. That's a bonus point that can be grabbed at any moment. Doesn't matter what position you're in. If you have the fastest lap at the end of the race, you will find yourself with a bonus point being grabbed as seeing the 98 trying to find a way to catch up to Thomas Green as currently single filed out. And this is a big thing that's going to help this field. If they can get single filed out, have a little space in between one another, we can stay green. But that middle field is getting a little bit more chaotic, and up front, starting to see a little bit more battling position setting up.
That we are. It's definitely getting a little bit mixy, so to say, throughout the majority of the field. There's you see Cochran work his way around the outside of Ethan Smith, who right now seems to be right in the hornet's nest. This is old 83 Colton Jordan and Cochran make contact there. That shoots the 83 of the track, but now the 83 going to be directly behind this 02. We'll see if there's any extracurriculars there.
There's the bump. There's the tap. Does not get Danny completely wrecked, but will move the 02 higher up in the lane. We'll see if there's any more contact as we've seen Danny in the past. He's not a fan of being pushed around. He's willing to fight back, but Jordan, he's just risking it all here in the early going. It's hard to move away from this racing action. Up front, it's still Thomas Green and Shelley. They're going back and forth for the lead, but we got to keep our eye out on the 02 and the 83 because I feel like Jordan might be overdriving this vehicle a little bit. Those tires could be questionable in the next 5 to 10 laps unless Cochran decides to give a bump back to Jordan here shortly. And there it is. But there goes Danny Cochran spilling down to the apron. Big save for himself. And now the other blanket of magic of vehicles that are all going over the place get by the 02.
And it was kind of a situation you talked about it earlier, just having tons of grip on entry and then losing it all suddenly. And what happened there is Cochran gets in the back of the 83. That's going to drop the nose, raise the rear end, and lift those tires up in the rear, making it light. And you can see right there the 21 fighting the same condition going down into the corner. So this is going to be something I think we see continuously here tonight as these drivers fight these tires as they wear.
And this is the fun thing of watching these Xfinity cars and the way the tires work. This is what old iRacing used to look like. You had to protect your tires, overuse them. You could find yourself in trouble in just 5 to 10 laps. It could quickly be a turnaround for these drivers, and they're already getting a sense of it as up front, Isaac Shelley does take the lead position as they're battling in the middle of the field. Want to go take our camera back up front. Reason why? Vincent Sora in the 15. Zach, we've seen this driver dominate this race in the ISRC Truck Series, the Monday Series, before the Trinity Racing League. And he did the same exact thing. He stayed low, he protected his tires, and then as the long run progressed, he was the dominant vehicle. He's doing the same exact thing here tonight early on. He's running in the third, but this 15 looks to be the driver who's the favorite right now.
You know, Iowa gives you plenty of options. You see all the options available from all these drivers running here. But what makes Vincent Sora, in my opinion, so good at what he does is he's consistent. He runs consistently the same line, the same lap time, the same way each and every lap. And when you're doing stuff the right way, being consistent like that, is I say that he's going to go up top here and try something out. But that consistency of just running the bottom, making the car work down there, it usually ends up leading to better tire wear. But I will tell you, some setups, you can find that grip higher up, and it will hurt you actually being down low. So it's really finding what that car needs, and maybe we'll see as this run goes on that same old Vince sort of drive away and get to that lead position. But at the moment, it seems like very multi-groove is Iowa here, and that's what this 2011 version of it really bolsters.
And the drivers going back and forth between one another. Shelley is starting to pull away. I'm going to fall back to Colton Jordan as he's now got a new driver he's racing back and forth with. That's Cedric Hunter. And Zach, I got to say, this 83 giving me a little bit of shades of a driver that isn't able to run here on Monday nights. John Forbes, with the moves that this 83 is making of just, if there's an opening inside of a driver, he's taking that chance as Jordan right on the back bumper of Hunter, just trying to force a mistake on the drivers around him.
Definitely getting very close to that bumper. They're getting close on entry right there. It's early, boys. You definitely got to remember no stage points and got to make it to the end of these races. And that's one thing Cedric Hunter's been good at, is he's been getting good finishes late in the races. He'll run back here 15th, 20th, have issues sometimes where his VR disconnects, but he comes back and gets great finishes. So got to be smart, and usually that 13 is one of the smarter drivers when it means staying out of trouble.
I mean, another driver right behind him in that green and white, number 16, that is going to be Joshua Kanata. He's been the pinnacle driver of consistency and just being there at the end. I think that's why it kind of is a shocker. And like you said before, his running position.
Oh, he's wrecked him.
Oh no, there they go. And contact for Cody Reed and the rest of the field trying to slow down. Kanata gets spun around, and it's just hold your brake, hope for the best. But other drivers not so happy. Kanata's not going to be starting to move. Same going to be for Jordan. Rest of the field's got to slow down, as I had a feeling it was going to bubble over at some point, and there it goes.
Yep, that was almost obvious that was coming. We got that knack for seeing where things are going to happen, and you can see right there, just 83 going to come up into the rear end of the 13. I mean, Cedric Hunter is trying to come down and kind of close the door on him, but the 83 definitely saw he was there and just kind of gassed it up for a hole that was already closed.
I know for Cody, I was talking to this 88, he was so confident entering tonight. He just felt like if he could keep himself out of trouble, he could be there. But I mean, that is a tough spot. You're accelerating off the exit of the corner. If you slam on the brakes, you're sending yourself to the outside wall, and Cody just nowhere to go for that 88 machine. And that is a tough one for Cody. He's going to have to come to pit road, get damage looked at. But we saw there visually the hood popped up for a quick second, slammed back down. We'll see how much damage there truly is as drivers now entering pit road, and it's going to be majority of the field coming in to get service done. Larry Yingling and a few others deciding to stay out and not pit this go around.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting call. I mean, looking at lap time wise, I mean, we dropped off about 4 or 5 tenths, about a half a second. So nothing too major, but still interesting call, especially with not many staying out. So this 67, it looks like Christopher Norris along with Martin Morales, Gary Wells, and Justin Campbell, last week's winner. So going to be about 5 race cars out here right now. So this will be an interesting case to really see how big a difference those tires really launch off at. So we'll get a good picture here, folks.
I'm curious if we have the replay, if it's popped up on your end, of the 14 of Jesse Thornock under pacing. The 14 had a major issue where he is now out of this race. He's required damage. I think there might have been a mechanical error that happened to the 14 to where he found himself driving directly into the inside wall under pacing. Try to make sure no one else was involved, but Jesse Thornock is now out of this race, and here's the reason why. I mean, turns into turn 1 totally fine, but it's the exit of turn 2 where he doesn't turn out of the corner, just keeps turning to the left and just throws himself right into the inside wall.
It's got to be a case of either something froze up there computer wise, or just something mechanically, like you said, with sim racing equipment just messed up, because the car just kept going in the direction he was already pointed. So tough break for Thornock, who's already disconnected, and like you said, night's over. So it shows you anything could happen in this sim rig, man.
A very bizarre moment, but drivers getting ready. This is going to be the choose, and we were given The photo, I just missed it completely. That's my fault. Of the choose line drivers are aiming for. Now, the choose line that they're looking for, it is the second seam to the outside. You see the wall, the black line, that's the first seam. The second seam is that choose line. They must be to the left or right of that line at the time of the start-finish checkered line. And a couple of drivers have been very close, but that second line is what you're looking for, and you're seeing drivers that are testing the fate, trying to see which line they can gain positions. Others are opting to just stay in one line, and that's where they'll be all night long. Yes. Close one there for a couple of them. It is.
I'm waiting for the whoops.
They are just going for it. Reimer was close, and a couple of other drivers, with how late they're throwing it to the inside or outside, they're practically throwing themselves into another vehicle.
I'm waiting for the whoopsie to happen. At some point this season, we're going to see somebody Bennett right there trying to make a late decision like that. It's going to be definitely a moment I don't think they're going to want to see. But, hey, we catch it live here on Freaky Fast because we got that choose code line.
Hey, we love all these drivers out here. If we laugh at it, it's just a silly moment we get to chuckle about. As the pace car pulls off, it's time for the Racing Paradise 150 to get back underway. Old Tire's going to be up front. It's your top three. That's Larry Ealing, Christopher Norris, Mark Morales. Going to be drivers on Old Tires. It is a big a 30-lap difference for some, a 20-lap difference for others. But don't worry, they're wrecking in the back, as that's the 66 of Justin Campbell, who goes around right in front of a few others.
Campbell should have been the first one on the old set of tires, so that's well, actually, sorry, he came down after all of that, so he was actually at the back of the field. So sorry about that, folks. We'll see exactly what happened here on the restart. Is restarting up top and getting going seems fine, but see what happens.
Another driver gets a little bit of help. That's going to be
21.
Nicholas Brenner, who gives the tap. And once again, Michael Miller is right in the middle. He's being the magnet of the night, is the 99. But once again, a difference on when you're coming into the corner. And Zach, interesting moments are happening out there.
Yeah, I just went back and looked at it. There was some beef out there on the track.
If we can go back another 30 seconds, this continued on. This is going to be an admin looked at. No, they continued even before this. Right here, this is after the 66 been spun around, trying to get retaliation after contact. This is going to be looked at by the admins. This is going to be a penalty for the 66. Already going to be troubles, but racing like this is not tolerated, but it is entertaining as Campbell runs up. And Renner is not a driver who's going to just take that lightly. He's someone who will retaliate, and there's the retaliate little bump, and then he just starts door slamming from here all the way to turn one, as it does not stop. It just continues on for a bit.
Yeah, I think Campbell's like, I don't want to hurt my right side anymore. But, yeah, I mean, definitely a huge mistake by Renner there into one, but Campbell showing his displeasure there coming back around. So, last week's winner. Getting a little frustration out, but guess what? He's got a win in his back pocket, so that's a good start for him for this season. He'll try to get back out on track and go race for it, of course. But man, this is interesting now because it's kind of mixed this group up with the older tires. You know, Mark Morales is back to 5th there, so he's going to be having to try to hold on right in the mix with all those drivers. But Christopher Norris and Larry Eagle on that front row did a pretty good job. We'll see, of course, with the choose this next time. Where will they place themselves, and where are the new tires going to be? Because I think those new tires will fire off pretty well, but I think for a few laps you'll see these guys be able to hang on for a little bit.
And there was a couple of drivers that went for different strategies, even with coming into pit road. Not everyone took 4 tires and fuel. First driver to take just 2 is going to be Ethan Smith back in 10th. He's taking track position for himself, trying to move forward. Another driver who just topped off on fuel was Ryan Ferraro in 22nd, as he also pitted for tires the previous caution. Another driver who took 2, going to be Isaac Reimer in 26th. Just fuel for Maurice Gomillion in 28th. The just fuel pick is an interesting one. The 2-tire pick, that one's even more interesting due to the fact of Zach. I mean, it just seems like drivers are more loose than they are tight, but I mean, we're not out on track racing, but that seems to be what would have been the thought. And taking 2 tires is certainly going to loosen you up just a little bit,
especially in this Xfinity car. You know, we've seen sometimes in the other vehicles it will do sometimes the opposite of that, but in this Xfinity car it has been very much known, and previously in iRacing, that you put those two right side tires on, the car's going to really want to rotate. So we've already seen a little bit of loose conditions from a few. I think that could be interesting. But hey, it's all about what you want as your balance and what you feel like you need. So we'll see how Smith can hold on with the two tires.
Drivers get ready for this restart. It's going to be Larry Yingling, Christopher Norris. No tires yet to pit. Same for the 9 machine of Martin Morales back in 5th position. Everyone else, they take 2, they took 4. Some just topped off on fuel. We'll see what the front row, how can they handle this upcoming restart? Into the restart zone, your Racing Paradise 150 is back underway. A little bit of delayed start, so everyone, both lanes stack up. But it's Yingling with the nose ahead as they head into turn number 1. The rest of the field try not to run each other over as we exit turn number 2, and Norris has the nose currently.
Good run through the center there for Norris, right on the bottom, but Yingling able to get a little bit better traction up off the top, but it's going to be the new tires looking immediately to the outside, 3 wide here. Isaac Shelley taking it to the top rope. We got to be careful here. Christopher Norris a little loose on the bottom. He did a great job to save that and not make contact with Yingling, because that could have been disaster.
Really could have been, but caution is out, and Shelley's already got the lead. Caution's for the 7. Cody Smith all the way back at the end of the line. Went for a little bit of a self-spin for himself. He went for a slide. Another driver who actually got spun around was going to be Travis Downing after the yellow was thrown, but initial driver, the 7 of Cody Smith. As drivers in the back having a little bit of trouble, and here's going to be your trio that had their whoopsies. It's the 7 of Smith, the 28 of Tyler Horn, and the 43 of Travis Downing that are going to be having the troubles off the exit of turn number 4.
That they are, and yeah, this is the 7. We've seen the turn 4 be a big issue, even in qualifying there, a little bit of loose condition for him, but see the contact there between the 43. I think mostly it was the 43 kind of actually getting loose that shot him down the track into Tyler Horn. So that is unfortunate contact, but right here, quick little yellows early to start this race that have kind of made the strategy going to be very interesting if these yellows continue.
Yeah, and I know for the admins, this was what they were dreading was going to happen, but what they prepared for is if we had a lot of early cautions, was if they were going to have yellows be thrown, that we were going to lessen how long this race was. Again, originally, Iowa was scheduled for 175 laps. We've now dropped it to 150 is the total length that we'll be racing here this evening, unless we need to go into overtime. But race report that we have here, I mean, Zach, already 5 cautions in the first 40 laps. That's not the most optimal way to go, but at least we've ran half of those 40 laps under green flag conditions. We've already had 3 lead changes and 4 different leaders. As Fields waiting for this next restart. I mean, Zach, when you're in a position like this, what do you think some of these drivers are thinking? I know for Shelley, he's in the most optimal spot. Fresh tires and ahead of all those on old tires.
Yeah, this is, Shelley, this feels great. You're on the brand new tires. You got a few sets of old tires in between you. But for Norris and Ling Yingling, the farther they get back into the mix here, the more it kind of snowballs with the older tires, where people start to get a little bit more advantage on you and use you up, knowing that you haven't pitted here, as you see them take the 2s and going to both split the lanes there as Yingling goes low and Norris goes high. But I think they'll be able to hang on well if we continue this little short runs. But we have seen a longer run here before. It's very possible that it can continue on, and we'll see those old tires really start to fail. But then if we get, that caution 20 laps from now, and where we do get a good little bit of green flag laps in here, it's going to be a decision of the other drivers if they want to take another set of tires. First, the other drivers will really want to take a set.
Certainly will. As looking out in chat, want to say thank you to everyone that's watching with us. We've got 31 people out there watching live. We appreciate you coming in and watching the Trinity Racing League presented by Lyria Productions here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Got a couple of people rooting for Stovall. Obviously, he's one of the favorites. I'm excited for this one who's going to be starting 4th car on the outside. How well can he take off and go? He's going to need a good one as they're stacking up on the outside and inside lane. But Shelley is already clear as the Racing Paradise 150 is green. But Zach, for how long is going to be the true question with everyone already 3 wide off the exit turn 2?
That they are. Yingling here going to be stuck on the bottom. He'll have Vincent Sore looking to his inside. But Christopher Norris looking a little bit more confident on the old tires than the 67, who seems to be just holding on to the rear end as you see other drivers just dancing to the outside here to try to get past these older sets of tires. As Shelley is saying, I will gladly take the space.
The 9 machine of Mark Morales, he was the 3rd driver yet to pitted under that last caution. He's back in 41st position. It's still the 38 of Christopher Norris, the 67 of Larry Yingling that are trying their best to just hold position for now. Keep themselves in a spot where we're green long enough to where when you pit, you have good track position, as now your hot lap designs, fastest lap given to Thomas Green in the 3, who runs in 3rd position. Looking at the field still side by side as everyone in the middle of this pack, as your pole sitter of Mason Cassidy finally able to start to make some move going forward.
Is Cassidy able to get back to the outside there and try to get back into that top 5 spots that he started in, of course, from that pole position, and been a really good short track driver in the past at ISRC, so not surprised to see Cassidy quit. But right now we're seeing the 8 of Nolan Smith. He's doing Noah Smith here. He's still doing a great job of trying to work around the outside of the 75 of Rogers, who has that 67 of Yingling on the outside here. Those older tires just hanging on.
Trying to find a way to use the top rope, the bottom rope. Where can you go for the 8 machine? And that yellow and blue Wranglers showing of what Dale Hart Sr.'s old colors in the regular days. As the 8's finally going to clear Yingling. Yingling now going to be on the outside, blocking the 00. That's going to be Ethan Smith. As well as seeing other drivers starting to get the next 81 of Jesse Newsom, who's been very vocal over the radio, wants to get moving forward, but stalled out. Here's also going to be the 01 and the Navy machine. That's Aaron Krolick, the 85 of Samuel. It's going to be Samuel S. Garcia making his way forward. This middle of the pack, a lot of names that, I mean, like you said, Zach, there are so many good drivers in this league. As Smith's going to squeeze his way to the inside, almost 3 wide, with C. Nolan Hicks stuck on the inside groove. But there's so many talented drivers in this league. You look throughout the field, there's just drivers that we used to talk about all the time in the top 5 in other leagues that are now here mired, just battling to stay in the top 20.
That it is. This is so tough for racing, and right now, Ethan Smith trying his best to get around him, but we got a quick yellow here.
That will be the 7 of Cody Smith going for a little bit of a ride. See if this one is a contact or was he spun on his own. And it is contact, and it's by a driver we saw earlier. It is going to be Jordan, who has a little bit of help here.
Yeah, this one's going to be, I think, a little bit accidental clumsy here from the 83. He's running that bottom. He's got a lot of speed, and you'll see Smith here in this 7 machine just trying to run his line, and he's going to run right there in that second groove and then kind of turn down from here. The 83 again, kind of similar situation with him in the 13. It's just the just continuing to stay in the gas as you see that car coming down. I mean, they are closing the door. You did have the run, but at some point you got to lift.
You got to lift. I think also this one hurts because the 7, on the way that he kind of moved up on the entry, kind of carried a little bit too much speed that I think he wanted to hold that position. And Jordan said, oh, there's another opening, and I'm just going to take it. As you see here, it rides up and tries to cut down, but that's just...
Yeah, this is racing.
We're not even halfway. We've just got to lap 50. At some point, you kind of hope that we'll calm down and not be just trying to run each other over, but obviously Iowa, a notorious track also known for it's hard to pass once you get into a long run unless you really protected your tires, as more drivers further in the back have gotten service done for themselves. About 30th on back, and to finally get pit road called is Christopher Norris and Larry Yingling finally going to have their first pit stop of the race on lap 50.
They'll enjoy those new sets of tires because they were definitely getting bombarded by those drivers on the fresher set there for sure. But yeah, that unfortunate little quick yellow there, and I think it'll all work itself out here as we get farther into this race, as these drivers will get a little bit more calmed down each and every time. As that can reverse itself, though, as I say that, and be the other way. So hopefully they'll go that way, but we've had some good races so far, and everybody up front has definitely been ready to mix.
They certainly have, and talked at the top of the broadcast as drivers are making the choose. High, low, where do you want to go for your starting position on this next restart? Drivers have that choice, but top of the broadcast talking about how this is Iowa week. We are racing at Iowa on both Monday and Wednesday night here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We've got ourselves a Trinity Racing League currently running in the older configuration of Iowa, but Wednesday night we get to see the current scan of Iowa with the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Their playoff run continues on, and there is some playoff implications. Jared Talmadge, he's parked for the race. Means there's an opening for a driver to move on to the next round. Who will take that spot? You're going to have to find out this upcoming Wednesday here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Green flag is back into the air. Isaac Shelley with a great run. He'll go from the bottom to the top, defending both lanes. As we are back to green flag action, it's Shelley, Sora, but the racing action for fifth is where we see Mason Cassidy, Gavin Rogers, but everyone else pounding that outside wall at the exit of the corner.
Yeah, using that wall up there off the exit too is for sure as Shelley leads the way, but it's the battle here with Kralik and Stovall again into the outside wall. They're off the exit of 4, so drivers definitely using up every little bit of this racetrack, trying to find the advantage here to race each other.
Just searching for grip. Where can you find it? And others just, where is an opening that I can utilize my tires to go forward? Everyone at this point, you know, some are tackling it. Oh no, there's a big wreck happening in the middle of the field. Multiple drivers involved. And oh no, involved in this one looks to be Dakota Moniz and a few others stacking up and getting involved with this, as it was Tyler Horn off going down into turn number 3. It's the hard contact from Mark Labertone.
Yeah, Labertone here gonna get right into the rear end of this 28 as you're gonna see them racing right here. This is that green 44 right there, the 20 in the white 28 off the exit of 2, and you're gonna see Tyler Horns up the track. Labertone's looking down the back straightaway, and just the 28's gonna turn down into the corner, and Labertone will go right in the back of him, and unfortunately you can see the hit that Moniz took. That was heavy contact for him, and I'm not sure who the other car, I believe it was the 87 Gary Wells.
It was Gary Wells. So we're right on board with Dakota here and get a sense of what this 5 was dealing with. Again, after the broadcast, you can get a sense of how Dakota was feeling in the live moment as he live streams his point of views on Blazing Fast TV. Thank you so much, Dakota, for being our Blazing Fast TV full award giver, but just nowhere to go. And I mean, this has been Dakota's whole career. I feel like it has just been a misfortune after misfortune of just trying to stay out of trouble, but the trouble finds him.
It really has been. I mean, none of his own doing there at all, and just gets caught up right in someone else's mess. So tough to see for Moniz. Is like you said, it's going to be, it looks like an early into his night with how big that damage was. Hopefully he'll be able to get something fixed up.
As drivers are getting ready for the choose, and they have been warned. Nick Crawford, our race control, has shown up and is trying to give a warning to the drivers of, hey, it's been on the broadcast of the choose. Let's try to be a little bit more definitive on where you want to be on the line. As you've seen everyone fanning out, inside, outside, and very equal on where they're going. Not seeing a lot of drivers, you know, sticking in line with one another very often. Then we get further in the back where drivers are like, oh, okay, this is where I'm going to go.
It always gets interesting. The farther back you get to, it kind of seems to be a little bit more split. So it's definitely wild to see how the thing plays out. And I'm sure every driver out there is learning too, because this is something not everybody's used to. I mean, some leagues out there have been doing it for, I'd say, about a year or so now, but it's definitely something you got to think of when you're going forward and picking what lane you want to restart.
Absolutely. As the field is stacked up, we're waiting for the pace car to pull off into pit road. We get ready for another restart. You're watching the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Art Productions. This is race number 4 of the season. Can they survive it? Let's find out as green flag's back onto the air for Shelley, who gets a good launch for himself. Once again, it's the back half of the field. How nice are they willing to play as the 98 tries to keep the clean air and keep this top spot off the exit of the corner. Zach, I mean, you look at the rest of the field. Once again, that outside wall off of 2 is where the danger zone is, but luckily it's just grazing the wall, not just smashing it as often as we were earlier before, as Shelley is grazing the wall at the exit of turn 4.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say Shelley was flirting with disaster off the exit, and we're going to get another quick yellow here.
Who's involved? It looks to be the 9 as well as the 7, but it's primarily the 9 of Martin Morales that gets tossed around. And Martin, that last restart, looked quick with fresh tires compared to the rest of his competition, but wasn't able to find a clean spot for himself here, as you're going to see the 66, the 99, everyone kind of getting close to one another. And there goes Martin. And there's the 7's nose tossing him around.
Yeah, tough case because I think Martin even got a little shot from the 7 right there at one point and then kind of got back into it. The other cars, too, were 3 wide, not that, tightly close together. So it kind of made the situation a little bit worse than it needed to be. And unfortunately, Morales is the one that went around. But luckily for everybody, it's no major damage around, just one of those quick little yellows.
As the field is deliberating over their race comms, as they've got multiple different ways. If we were green, drivers can communicate vocally or over text to one another to give information, such as if we're pitting, if they want certain drivers to move around one another and where to go, if you're maybe a lap down. But Zach, the conversation of the time, Martinsville, with how many cautions we've had already in the first 60 laps, Martinsville was a question mark. It was put with an asterisk of, if we had too many cautions tonight, Martinsville, who was scheduled to be on the racing circuit at the end of September, could be changed for a different race. I think so. A lot of the drivers in the field feels like Martinsville might be gone and we might not see it this season.
It's so unfortunate as you see the race report, of course, there with everything that's played out in this race with the 8 cautions and for 26 laps. But it's one of those situations where short tracks, unfortunately, in iRacing, the art of short track races kind of been lost. We used to be able to do it back in the day, but it just seems like a lot of people just can't understand that fact of you just can't overdo it when you're at these short tracks, because if you do, it just ends up causing issues. And then from there, you get yellow after yellow, and then people start to get frustrated. And once the frustration comes out, you can pretty much say it's over with at that point, because it gets so tough to get everybody back in that respectful racing aspect.
Yeah, it's really hard. I think especially with the racing culture and the way that it's kind of been evolving into, you have to be aggressive, you have to beat and bang, and not, you give and take early, and then once you get to that later half, that's when you can be aggressive. Drivers, like we've seen here tonight, aggression has been here since the initial green, and we have lost another driver here tonight. Dakota Moniz, second driver to get required damage, and he has called it an evening for the 5. So we are left with 41 drivers out there on track. Tyler Horn going to be the one driver, one lap down. Cody Reed enters pit road, tops off on fuel. So if we stay green all the way to the end, Cody would be good on fuel, and as well a few other drivers that just pit under this yellow. But fuel window I was given was around 95 to 100 based off cautions, how you were saving fuel. If we stay completely green to the end, this could be where it gets questionable, but I think the field knows there's a chance that we may not stay clean and green. As those pace car lights are off, we are choosing to see the drivers go higher and low.
Yeah, I've seen crazier things before, and wouldn't put it past this group to be able to go all the way to the end from here. So if that happens, I think Cody is going to be a very happy man. So that would be an interesting case if it played out that way. So we'll see how it shakes out, but definitely been a wild one so far. And we'll see if we can get us another good green flag run here underneath our belt.
Talking about short tracks, well, here tonight, again, today's race sponsor is the Racing Paradise. Racing Paradise has multiple different podcasts. So you can go listen to different topics. You can go listen to their short track podcast. It is the Short Shoot podcast. They go live every week talking about short track racing, anything from local short track racing to ARCA cars to Cars Tours and more. Go to Racing Paradise and look up the Short Shoot podcast for your short track content. Green flag is back out in the air for the Racing Paradise 150. Wasn't the cleanest launch for the 98, but at least clean enough to keep his nose ahead of the 15 as we are racing off the exit of turn number 2.
It gets tougher and tougher each time you have a restart up front. People will start to learn your certain little intricate, start time. So it definitely will get tougher for Isaac Shelley if he has the likes of Vincent Soar and others there continuously on these restarts. So Shelley doing a good job right now holding them off, but look at this. You got Gavin Rogers finding his way back up into the top 3, trying to fight around the outside of the 3 of Thomas Green.
And the problem with Gavin Rogers, like he told us earlier today, right before this race, he said the fact of he doesn't have a lot of knowledge. He hasn't raced this car a lot. He's learning. And with how fast he initially was, just based off that 1 hour of practice before the qualifying started, and he's just going to continue to learn and get faster and faster throughout this season and throughout this race. Watch out for that 75 as we are 65 laps in. But you look further on back, Danny Cochran, Ethan Smith, Eric Rolick, as well as Nolan Hicks and a few others. They're getting racy, but it is a massive one right behind them, the back stretch. It looks like a race car graveyard, you could say, with everyone piling in high and low. It is everyone from about 20th on back.
And I think it started way farther ahead near Malik Kuntz in the 33 around 13th. That's really, well, sorry, actually it was kind of two different things going on, completely different things. But I think actually, no, sorry, that did lead to the big one.
Yeah, the Malik Kuntz wreck made drivers really overreact. But the 33 you're going to see goes down in the corner. He's got the 99 of Miller trying to keep his position, but they're going to continue to fight back and forth, even into turn one. And once again, just roughing into one another, just both having different entry points. Contact is made. 33 trying to stay low, but that contact with Ali Fonseca, this is where it all goes wrong. He's trying to save it. Another contact while turning to the right, overcorrects back into the field, and let the madness begin as everyone starts to pile up.
Oh, then Renner shoots into the 38 of Christopher Norris. It was chain reaction after chain reaction there, and it is such an unfortunate case because Malik was trying to save it. He had turned to the right, like you said. And then once Ali hit him that second time, those front tires grabbed, and it was all said and done here. So we're going to see another look of how that played out. As Renner and Norris already get into it. That was kind of what was happening farther back here. But you're going to see how this all shook out once they got clipped by this 33 here.
Then I want to apologize. I've been misspeaking. I thought that was the 99 of Michael Miller. That's actually been Ethan Delaire this whole time. That has been that 99 who's been involved with everything here this evening. As Ethan Delaire, that might be the last time we see that 99 yellow, white, and blue, who is the 22 on our ticker, as he's found himself with required damage. Also, you see Jordan there with heavy damage, and this could be the race, the caution, excuse me, that could settle everyone down with the amount of damage that was just dealt out. Drivers are going to be slower, though. Some are going to be out of this race. Colton Jordan, who's been involved with a lot of earlier incidences, he's now out of this race. He's calling it a night. Delaire's got required damage. He'd be calling it a night here early. And this is one of those moments where we're almost to halfway, and the field's got to make a decision. Do we ramp up the aggression even more, or do we cool down before this last part?
That's a huge question, and we had some interesting strategy here. As we had Isaac Shelley and Vincent Sora come down to pit road, but you had the likes of Hicks here, Talmadge, Hunter, Campbell, Yingling, Smith, all of them stay out. And Yingling, you got to remember also, he has a little bit fresher tires than them also because he stayed out longer also on the previous stop before that. So he's going to have a little bit fresher than these guys. So this is going to be an interesting situation of how those tires work, because we didn't really have that many green flags or, or that long of a run to really, I feel like, wear the tires out too much. I think we could see these tires hold on pretty well.
Yeah, it was about like 1-2 laps, and then another caution would come out. Sometimes we wouldn't even get off of turn 2 before yellow would come out. But our top 13, a pretty big mix and mingle. We got Nolan Hicks, who's got the oldest tires, with Cody Smith at 40. Same for Ali Fonseca, who's back in 12th. Then we got a cluster of drivers who've got 19, going to be now 20 lap old tires as they're crossing the line. Cedric Hunter, Jared Talmadge, as well as going to be Larry Yingling and Ryan Kelly. Everyone else that was inside of our top 13 going to be on 9 lap old tires. And honestly, I think they're in the better position. Those that are in our top 13, I'm excited to see how they defend compared to how we're now going to have to see Shelley, Sora. How well do they perform being this far back into the field, where 13th on back has been the danger zone all night long, is where drivers have been having wrecks. That is where we found the catalyst of our last caution. How well can they survive? Let's find out. Is Nolan Hicks able to take off? Same going to be for Talmadge and Hunter. It's 4th on back, where drivers are going to be stacking up with one another, but it's going to be Shelley immediately ducking to the inside for the 98. He's trying to utilize his tires, his momentum, but he's stuck in the middle of the pack where Sora is as well. And Zach, I mean, look the madness. It's about to go down.
Yeah, the 4 cars you really got to watch is that 98, that 15, that 3, and 75. They're going to be firing, trying to get up there. Oh, Green, a little mistake. I don't know if that was contact or what, but Green, a little mistake up into the outside wall, and he is going to lose a few spots, but it's going to be 3 wide here farther back as you can see the new tires trying to fire off, but they just don't have the grip yet to go past these older tires.
That gray 94 machine, that's Maurice Gilmillion. That has just been a valve right now. You could say, oh, trouble ahead of him. It's going to be Mark Morales, Ollie Fonseca, and another pile up. Gavin Rogers involved. Oh, my goodness. Thomas Green ricocheted up into the sky off of after contact from going to be Labertone. Wow, what a contact bump from the 44 to the 3.
Yeah, this is a huge hit for him, but it all just went wrong somewhere up there around Martin Morales. I don't know. Yeah, a little bit of contact just Martin Morales and Isaac Shelley making just a slight bit of even some netcode contact, and man, it was heavy damage.
Oh man, this is one of those things where I was talking to some of the drivers who felt like they were going to be slow. I told them, hey, you might want to work on your brake bias to make sure that it is set up to slam on the brakes and come to a stop on a dime. Some drivers did. Some drivers, they just hope for the best. There's the contact to Shelley into the 9 and just nowhere to go for the field. And everyone just bouncing into one another. But there's the 44 Green machine into the 3. And, well, Mark got forced to stop. But all that inertia got forced right into the 3, who luckily is able to continue to race on. No required damage. I'm curious on the amount of damage he took on, because it was more of an aerial show than it was pure damage placed on that machine.
I think he's all right, actually. It looks like a little bit of, looks like the toe on the right front is pretty broke. Maybe they'll get that fixed, but it seemed like it could have been so much more worse, for sure, with how the car flew in the air. I mean, here from Laverton, you can see he goes to the outside, tries to get
and then went to the
outside.
Yeah, and that was similar to what happened earlier X for the 44. His mentality is, how do I drive around instead of how do I slow down? That is mentality for the 44. We've seen this before.
Yeah.
And there is another incident. See how drivers are penalized, because that is going to be now 2 races in a row that Mark could find himself with an ARCA brake penalty, as the rest of the field pit stops. A lot more coming into pit road to get service done. We are left to now 6 drivers that decided to stay out. Nolan Hicks will stay out with Jarrett Talmadge, Cedric Hunter, as well as Larry Yingling, Ryan Kelly, and Joshua Kanata. Drivers, excuse me, I misspoke on that completely. As drivers were getting service done, those are on older tires, or those that are in our top 6. Shelley's now up to 7th, which I think is a big thing for the 98 here, Zach. That is less drivers just to worry about, but those drivers are on much more equal tires, and I'm more worried about how well can this 98 get past. My assumption is that Shelley's going to go up to the outside and just utilize that outside run the best that he can.
He's going to try for sure, but like you said, those tires in front of him, I don't think are that used. I mean, they got 24 laps on them from Jarrett Talmadge all the way back to Kelly, and then Kanata's only got 14, of course, on his. So that's really not a huge difference between, the 8 laps on their tires, and a lot of those laps were under caution. So the only person really hurting from a tire disadvantage is our leader, Nolan Hicks. Got 46, laps on it, but again, not many green. So we'll see how well they can hang on with about 20 lap fresher tires right behind them.
As drivers are going to be given penalties. Looks like for Michael Miller, choose line violation. He is sent to the end of the line. As 99 will have to go all the way to the back. Drivers up front to get ready for this restart. Once again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining with us. Halfway through this race, Nolan Hicks, I believe, because he's the leader at this time, if he crosses the line as the leader, should get our halfway bonus point. As we'll wait for race control Nick Crawford to give us that official announcement. But green flag is out. A little bit of a wiggle for that 86 machine, but it will be Hicks who crosses the line for himself halfway through this race. And it is Nolan Hicks. Old tires, track positions there. And Zach, he's trying his best to stay in the lead position.
That he is trying to stay there for sure. Is now Cedric Hunter going to look to the outside, and he's going to try to lead a lap early. Was one spun off of turn 4, now going to go to the lead spot for the 13.
And Cedric Hunter always talks about how he does not feel confident in qualifying. Qualified all the way back in 20th, but now leads this race. Jared Talmadge, 27, probably one of the biggest drivers you were worried about coming into tonight based off the momentum he's had. He now is trapped, going to be in the middle. Hicks on the outside. Inside is Larry Yingling, who's now finally on equal footing. He can challenge up front, but Talmadge, oh, how did he save that? Almost wrecking himself off the nose of Hicks there at 4.
That was millimeters clear. That was too close for comfort for sure, because it led to contact as the 67 of Yingling tries to follow him through. It's showing you how much these guys are trying to go racing, as Vincent Sora's got ahead of Shelley here on the fresher tires. So this just shows you the tires are hanging on pretty well here, because they are not able to make too much room as he's going to get into him.
Saves it, is the 15. Same, going to be a great save by the full 30 of Ryan Kelly. As the exit turn 4, a rarity to see an issue by the 15 of Vincent Sora, but that big slide gonna hurt those tires on this long run, but he's got to settle in, refine your footing to tackle and move forward as they still racing back and forth for that third place position. Hicks doing a great job of still holding his footing, but looking back, that battle between the 85 of Garcia, also going to be the 16 of Kanata. This is the battle for 10th place. We're seeing Garcia having a good run for himself, trying to power his way forward currently. Just seeing track position helping out so many drivers.
So much help from that track position for sure, Sam. You get a little bit of clean track in front of you, you change it to a different driver sometimes. As some of these drivers getting to feel it for the first time here tonight, is we got a battle for that top 5 spot even, and that's going to be between Ryan Kelly and Isaac Shelley. So it just shows you again, those fresher tires just not able to get as much done as they would hope. They're kind of just stuck in mired racing with everybody.
And another thing that I'm noticing on is, those early cautions, early changes to tires. We saw the gamble of taking 2 tires. No one is gambling anymore. Everyone on these last pit stops for tires, if it was 30 laps ago or if it was just a mere 9 laps ago, everyone is taking 4 sets of tires. I think they all recognize 2 tires in track position that way is not a successful run to tackle and go for. But Vincent Sora, after the slide, he's now back in a footing position to go forward, now up to 6th place. Doval up to 8th, and the one lingering in the wings and just waiting for where he can pounce to go forward.
That is. This has been great racing all around here from this group here. We're getting a little bit more spread out now, as Stovall looking to that inside, like you said, on the inside of 30 and trying to make his pass. He's just had a quiet little night so far, and that's what Stovall needs to have. Is only almost slides up into Kelly, but very close racing between the two there off the exit of 4.
Stovall going to be our producer, Robert Moyer Jr.'s pick as his driver to watch out for here tonight, and certainly has been a driver that we haven't talked about a lot, but having a good run currently. Up front, seeing the 98. Shelley finally seeing it's time to strike to go forward for 3rd place, but Hicks, I mean, impressive enough. It's still, yes, he's only ran maybe 20 laps of green flag racing on this set of tires. Officially, last time he pitted was 56 laps ago, but Nolan Hicks has done a great job defending the driver of Shelley, who's looked to be the favorite here tonight.
That he has. Everybody's done a really good job of trying to hold him back here for the time being, because Shelley has just been kind of a man on the mission here. He's been very, very, very quick, and same for Vincent Sora. Those two, in my opinion, have been 1A and 1B when it comes to tonight here with the speed, and they're still just having a little bit of trouble even with the fresher tires. It just shows you these drivers all here very talented. You give them some track position, it's going to take a few laps to pass them.
So it's Steele with a big dive bomb move for the 9 machine. A driver we haven't talked about here tonight. Here is the 23 of Jacob Morris, who took a long hiatus away from racing in Monday nights. It was one of the original admins of the ISRC Truck Series that we used to call, and has moved from an admin position to a racing position and able to finally race. This is exciting for the 23, who for the longest time, we only got to see him race for 1 season, and that's crazy to say, that was almost 3 years ago. But Morris, a driver who is showing that he still has pace underneath him, but it might take a while before he finally gets some of that rust knocked off and is able to consistently be a top 10 driver.
Yeah, I expect a lot out of him. I remember racing this guy way back in the day, and he was very talented. So I think he will pick it up and just give him a matter of time before, you never know, something will play out where he is battling for a win late in the season. So we'll get to see his development, of course, and same for a lot of these other drivers. I mean, you see Danny Cochran, he's looked so good in the Xfinity car so far. He's had some up and down seasons when it came to that truck. You know, he really kind of started to not have the seasons he wanted, I'd say, necessarily. And it's so good to see him come back here, get into the Trinity Racing League, and really be excellent so far in this Xfinity car. He has really put himself in great positions each week.
I mean, if anything, it's kind of shown the fact of drivers that we saw initially be good in the truck series in the past are showing, hey, we transfer to a different car. And if it's just raw talent, a lot of drivers that have that raw talent are still trying to learn the vehicle, blossoming here early on. As you saw in the mirror and windshield, Shelley was getting a little bit rough up front, trying to find a way to get by Talmadge, and practically they used each other to get through 3 and 4 the last lap. We'll see if they need to use each other once again. Heading into turn 3, Shelley will fall back to Larry Yingling, but that 98, once again, a big dive bomb move into the entry, trying to carry the momentum off the exit of the corner, just can't get back on the throttle too early, otherwise you're going to be spinning around, and Shelley right in front of Hicks, who now makes his dive bomb move to the inside.
Shelley struggling a little bit to get past these drivers, but the driver's not struggling. Vincent Sora to the inside of leader Cedric Hunter, who got to give him credit. They've kind of driven away from the drivers behind him who were battling, and Sora going to be able to make the pass, just being a little bit quicker here tonight, being able to work the bottom with those fresher tires, but Cedric Hunter still doing a great job here running in second.
From a slide to the top of the tower, it is the 15 of Vincent Sora who is hitting his marks, the driver that found himself winning the inaugural race of the Trinity Racing League, the Daytona opener that we had just a few weeks ago. And the 15, I mean, if we looked at it before Gavin showed up to race here tonight, I think Vinny probably was the next driver I was going to pick as my driver to watch out for. He's just always found speed here at Iowa and does it once again, being up front. Still, we find ourselves with about a little bit over 55 laps to go here tonight, but here's some more racing action that's side by side. It's Justin Campbell as well as Isaac Reimer that are trying to push their way forward. Two drivers that started this evening with end-of-the-line penalties. They've been caught up in a lot of ups and downs this evening, but currently run in 17th and 18th position.
Some great battling going on back here, of course, is, like you said, Reimer on the outside, Campbell on the inside here, last week's winner, and trying to make his way forward. But you can see those bumps on the inside. It's so tough to navigate them. So at times the car just jumps and bottoms out underneath them, and it just causes major issues as you try to make those passes down there. And that's what really makes Iowa great. You see there, Reimer too tight off the exit, and guess what? Campbell now into 17th.
Taking their time, trying to move around, but they're starting to get a little bit more racy just inside of our top 10. Battle for 9th and 8th position. Danny Cochran in the 0-2 and the 0-0 of Ethan Smith getting close as see Stovall. He's on the outside, almost put it into 3-wide action, and oh no, there goes Ethan Smith off the nose of the 23. Morris through the grass, keeping it straight, but over the grass, back on the racing surface. We stay green, but Smith obviously not going to be happy about that one, but luckily the 0-0's race isn't over.
For sure, definitely lucky that that played out like that, because that could have been way worse. He could have been into the inside wall, and yeah, it's tough to lose those spots, but Smith has been really strong here tonight so far, where I think he might be able to get himself back in the mix here if we get some type of yellow to bring it back together. But we check back up here to Danny Cochran, who has made a few spots up. He was once in 10th, now up to 8th here, almost on the back bumper of Ryan Kelly. So maybe these older tires starting to show up a little bit for a few.
As the drivers, I think they're starting to close up on one another. Reason why, lap traffic. Austin Halsey was not just laying over, getting out of the way. Currently the only driver one lap down, but he was fighting for a little bit to hold back some drivers, give some help to a few to catch up to this lead pack. I believe that is going to be Tyler Horn now that's making the march into pit road as he's on the apron for the 28. And lap traffic, first time here tonight, going to be a slight issue for a few drivers as we continue to stay clean and green. But up front, it is still Vincent Sora as he takes down and puts another driver a lap down. He leads here tonight, but with coming up to 50 laps to go, luckily, we've calmed down to a point where we can finally take a commercial break. We're single file, majority through the field. But when we come back, it is going to be more aggressive racing. Can we stay clean and green to the end? Who's saving their tires to tackle for a better finish? We'll find out when we come back after this quick commercial break. You're watching the Trinity Racing League presented by Lariat Productions. It's the Racing Paradise 150 in Iowa. We'll be back after this as the drivers in the field try to stay green. Well, from a long green flag to get ready for the most chaos we've had all night long, yellow flag is thrown. Isaac Shelley going for a little bit of a ride and finished off with Nolan Hicks giving him the tap. Here's going to be a replay that sent us into a late race caution. It's going to be trying to get by lap traffic. Diving it down low is going to be Shelley trying to set up a pass on Larry Yingling. And I mean, Zach just already feeling the loose sensation, but it's going to be going down into 1 and 2 where it all just goes wrong.
And right here, the 86 going to look a little to the inside. Unfortunately, is going to clip the left rear of that 98. And the second hit, they're going to fully send him around to bring out that yellow. And man, oh man, tough night for Isaac Shelley, who at one point we were talking about him possibly being the favorite at, of winning this race because of his speed. But right here, this longer run got kind of caught up in traffic and just could never get away.
Caught up in traffic, and he'll be finding himself spinning around and heading to the back is going to be the 98. Driver's now going to be making the decision. Pit stops underway. 4 tires and fuel for the majority of the field. Who takes 2? Oh, you Stovall fans better get excited. The 1 is on top of the board, taking just 2 tires. One of the only drivers to do so, but Stovall knows clean air, having the control on these restarts is what's most important here late.
It exactly is very important. I mean, we saw the likes of, people like Cedric Hunter, who was running outside the top 15 at some points in this race, was caught up in a wreck. He got a little bit of track position and immediately became a factor right there in that whole run. I mean, he stayed in second. He got passed by Vince Sora, of course, who drove away from everybody, but he stayed in second and held everybody else off. I mean, so it just shows you a little bit of track position can be huge. I do have the concerns with how many tires are on the left side tires. I mean, I think he's going to be a little bit free here, but Stovall, he's going to be willing to gamble here, and you never know. We get the right timing with yellows, we may come back down for more tires later.
And this choose could be important because those first 6 restarts, our race control Nick Crawford was not here, so some drivers were able to get away with some of the restarts. This time, Crawford is already announced to the field. You better make sure you are not on that second seam, otherwise you will be sent to the end of the line with an EOL penalty. Again, the way that this choose line is going to be, you've got the wall, the first line, that's your black seam. It's that second line that is in the middle that we are looking at. That line is your choose line. You must be fully to the left or to the right. If you are on the line at all when crossing the start-finish line, you will find yourself with an EOL, and you see everyone dashing back and forth. Oh, Ollie! That was close.
Yeah, he made that one close. That was almost contact with the other car.
Almost a whoopsie.
Yeah, that was almost a whoopsie. I was looking for his own.
That's very close. Oh, finally clear. Oh, boy. Well, officially, they're all clear. But that was close by Ollie, and that's one of the risks of making a choose is some drivers, they are patient. If they see that you're high, they're automatically going to go forward, and some aren't ready for that late dashing move to the inner outside. Luckily, no contact. We continue to roll on. Hicks wasn't happy about it, and we'll see if there's any retaliation on this initial restart here heading into turn number 1. Thanks for joining with us. If you've been here all night long, I know it's been a long one, but we've got ourselves a mad dash to the end. Will we need another caution? Most likely, as we're back to green flag racing for the Racing Paradise 150 down into turn number 1. Stovall, he's the only driver that took 2 tires. Sora, though, looked a little loose through the center, and the 1 takes the lead, but oh boy, Stovall holds on. Sora now going to be diving down to the inside for a chance for the lead position. Sora knows he needs this lead now. Stovall needs a good exit. Caution is out. Sora has the lead as Reimer spins around to bring up this caution.
More spinning around also, as we'll see how that all worked out. But man, oh man, Vincent Sora just barely getting ahead of that 1. That's going to be huge for the likes of that 15 when it comes back around to control this next restart. But Sam, this right here could lead to definitely some more chaos as we're seeing these wrecks. They could pile up some more.
Yeah, it is multiple drivers spinning around, and we're going to get another driver who goes airborne as this is about 3 or 4 different drivers that spin. First driver that goes around is going to be the 77, Isaac Reimer. Second driver is going to be the 7 of Cody Smith, who has another self-spin. But here's what got the 77 around. It's going to be immediately after we see the 77 spin. Then it will go to the 7. few other drivers caught up in this one as well, but it's down into 3 and 4. Once again, drivers, that time no contact was made. There goes the 7 now, and then the 2 overcorrects across the field and into the air is going to go the 2 o'clock.
Oh no, and he was doing great in points, and this night could definitely hurt him here a little bit. But yeah, this was kind of chain reaction from a lot of people. I mean, you saw Talmadge there. He was trying to miss the 77. He's going to dive to the middle here, and I don't think we got a good look at it last time, but he dives to the middle, and there's some contact made with the cars behind him when he dives down there to miss him. So it's just a tough situation here late, as these drivers on cold tires. That is one thing I noticed. Sora in the front, very loose on the bottom of the 4 tires. So all night long, even in the qualifying laps we saw earlier, very, very loose conditions with these race cars, and I think that's what come back to bite a few.
Vincent Sora, the big thing that helped him, caution came out before Stovall was going to get the big run to take that lead back. Not going to be the case, as now drivers have to reset. And for Stovall, him losing that lead position really took all the advantage he had with that 2-tire stop. He's going to be in a lot of fight for everything and claw to stay in the spot that he's in right now.
That's for sure. Yeah, he did a good job on that restart. I mean, he fought very, very well into 3 and 4, was very close, and at one point would probably have got back ahead the nose, at least heading into 1 with the run on the outside past the 15, but timing didn't help him here, and now it's going to be about just hanging on to what he can grab. And, you know, the more yellows we get, the better that thing's going to fire off too, in my opinion, because we get at least 5-10 laps in and those tires start to heat up on the outside, it's going to really start to make that car handle weird with the way the lefts are. So the more quick yellows he can get, I think the better for that one, because it should fire off well, just not going to probably last that long.
Larry Yingling runs currently in 3rd and one of the higher movers of the night. Nolan Hicks and Noah Steele both trying to move up quickly, but it's Nolan Hicks who's our biggest mover currently. But Yingling up 24 spots from where he started. He'll be restarting 3rd here this evening. See the drivers go high-low. We do also want to give a shout-out to our halfway bonus point winner, as we were officially given word from Race Control. That will be Nolan Hicks in the 86, getting your SG_racing halfway bonus point. Look out to see some great racing content. Head on over to SG_racing to see some of the highs and lows of Samuel S. Garcia's racing on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. Again, that's SG_racing. Thank you for being our halfway sponsor for the field. And the rest of the drivers, they know this is all about getting to the end. And I see a couple of drivers skewed out. Well, we talk about crab legging. Here's another driver who's crab legging. The 6 of Justin Smith giving his Ollie Fonseca impression from race number 1. As green flag is back out in the air, the 6 is trying his best to continue to race on. And Zach, what a bizarre moment. But up front, it's all Sora, but trouble for Stovall. He couldn't take off and go. He's fallen down to 5th.
Stovall definitely just couldn't get it going there, and that allowed the 1300, the 67 of Yingling here to battle for 2nd. Now as they race off a 2, a little loose from the 67 as the 13 will hold on to that spot. Here comes Danny Cochran up into the top 5.
Danny Cochran going to be trying his best to get by the 1 of Stovall. Stovall attempting, again, the only driver who took 2 tires under our last pit stop, and that is showing a lot of weakness off the exit of the corner. Just not able to get on the throttle as soon as some of these other drivers are, but he's doing his best, trying to keep it close as Yingling boxing in the 1, the 0-2, ticking down low, but Ryan Kelly now is starting to get into the mix as Danny is trying his best not to run up into the 1, but this is such a struggle through 1 and 2, especially with those bumps that can really just send you to the outside if you're not careful.
You definitely got to be careful. There's, you see Ryan Kelly, he's trying to find a 3rd lane to work around these 2, but just can't find the grip to do it. But Cochran still staying consistent on that bottom, trying to work past that 1 car.
Vincent Sora continues to just paint the yellow line as he continues to race on. Trouble for some of the drivers further on back as the 3, that is going to be seeing the 3 machine Thomas Green into the outside wall. That's going to hurt Gary Wells and a few other drivers that were up inside of our top 10. And lap cars that are slow, just hurting the field at moments in time. As up front battling, the only side-by-side battling that's happening is Danny Cochran and Stovall as they make contact, and Stovall losing even more positions as he falls to 6th now for the 1.
They did, and that was just slight contact between the two in the center of the corner, just shut them up out the groove a little bit, and that allowed Kelly and Cochran both to get on by. So right now, our top 5 all past the 1 here on the 2 tires.
And how many more laps are you willing to ride? I know for most of the field, they've already taken 3 sets of tires. Some, they have 1 set left in their box if they feel like they need it. I don't think anyone's expected to take any tires unless we get a caution now. And speaking of now, Ryan Kelly with the huge save for the 30. Hicks will drop to the inside. The 1 going to get by as well. And a massive save for the 30 machine, who I thought was going to bring out the yellow after snapping loose off the exit. Big save, but now it's going to be a blanket of vehicles. Where do you go? Because you're just stacked on top of one another. Don't run over each other, as we're back to 2x2x2 as they exit at turn number 4.
Great racing here that Iowa produces side by side, and still up into the wall there with some contact with the 24 of Fonseca. That shoves him back here, but down into 1 and 2, still the stack up is. Here comes Kanata making his charge late in the race into the top 10.
Like you said, it's not about how you're running throughout the race, it's how you finish. Kanata's been there at the end. Same as we've seen from other drivers. And the 16's got to be careful. He's in the mix and mingle of a lot of drivers that have really been using up their tires during this run. You don't want to just throw it away. But up front, also drivers are starting to close in. Yingling is starting to catch up to Vincent Sora as Cedric Hunter is falling backwards. We'll go back to that battle if it closes in ever so slightly, but they're going to be wrecking behind. Caution flag is out, and Gavin Rogers will be involved, as well as it looks to be the 6 crab-legged machine self-wrecking all on his own.
Yeah, I think Gavin there kind of came into that a little bit late, but I think that was the 6 of Justin Smith, who, again, just driving with so much damage on that race car. I just, I wish sometimes iRacing would make those cars have to be a little bit more straight to be able to drive, because I feel like this is a little too much skewed out, especially the opposite way for you to be able to drive right.
Yeah, I think the reason why is this is an older model of a vehicle that hasn't been updated with the current damage models that are really forcing drivers to be knocked out of the race sooner, and just overcorrects, throws in the outside wall, and Gavin Rogers just nowhere to go. And that is such a hard, we laugh about it on the fact of, hey, we saw Ollie racing well crab, we just saw Smith crab legging, but it is frustrating when you see a driver that is limping their way around the track, and even when you're going that slow, you make a mistake that is hurting another driver, as already was having a poor day with Gavin Rogers, and it just gets even worse.
Yeah, it's tough, a tough situation, because Smith, he's just trying to make laps and get as many points as he possibly can, but that car is just so hurt that, it's just such a risk to be driving that car, especially when it's pointed the opposite way like that, where, yeah, it's just tough. And it just overall affects the overall race too, with how these guys, the battles that were forming up. So now we'll have to re-rack them and reset them, but you got to always be prepared for that yellow flag. That's the one thing in racing. Nothing is guaranteed till there is a checkered flag. You cannot sit here and say, I got this thing wrapped up and ready to go green to the end, because that when you say that, something like that in the back will happen.
Well, like I said, there some drivers had a set of tires left in their back pocket. We saw this last week by Justin Campbell. Campbell's going with the same strategy, late caution, 18 laps to go. He's coming into pit road. Same with Ollie Fonseca, Isaac Shelley, Aaron Kralik. Give them a chance. They're going to be having a run with fresher tires compared to those that are up front. Yeah,
we'll see if those tires can fire off well. We did see a decent amount of green flag laps there, Sam. So, that very well could be a good little advantage for a few of these guys. So we'll get to see how it is. We know Ollie, he's going to be willing to send it. Same for Campbell. We saw him charge through the field at Homestead and get the victory late. So don't put it past him. It's just a lot of cars to pass here late.
And looking at it, looks to be an EOL penalty will be given out to Isaac Shelley. Believe that might have been a penalty that could be given out due to a restart violation or a choosing violation. Malik Kuntz, due to damage, is asking to be sent to the end of the line. As the rest of the field, make your choice. Where do you want to be? As they're going to be making a hard decision, high, low, and the fun game for us, who will actually run into one another as they're making these late decisions?
That will be, that's going to be always the question when you come to this line for sure. And We saw Fonseca with the very split seconds. That was close to, I think, Wells there.
Wow.
It just, those late decisions a lot of times come from where people in front of you do unexpected things that you thought was going to work. You're like, oh no, now I have an opportunity down here. So you change your mind. And that's kind of where the fun of it becomes watching for us.
Yeah, it certainly is fun. And sometimes when you see a large gap, it's kind of bizarre that some drivers are making that late of a decision, but you got to make the choice that you feel like is going to assist you to move forward. No longer are you waiting to survive. It's about getting in the best track position for the best finish possible. Drivers further back in the field, back around 19th position. Just got some fresh rubber. How well can they utilize it? Let's find out. As green flag is out in the air, Joshua Kanata very backed off, not going to be having the space to really keep with his position, but it's Sora. Now Danny Cochran, 1-2 as they go through 1 and 2.
Great start there for an 0-2 Cochran, who's teammates with Vincent, so they got a little bit of help with the countdown, I'm sure, but just couldn't clear the 67. If he does that, he would have possibly been able to hang on, but back here, 3x3 is Noah Steele in the middle. His contact is made. Jared Talmadge into the rear end of the 8, and that's going to shoot the 27 down the track, but everybody stays together.
They stay together up front, but further on back, it's Eric Kralik. That's going to be sideways in the grass. Up front, going to be seeing Ryan Bird shipped up to the outside wall as we continue to stay clean and green. The driver with the freshest of tires on the charge is going to be the 24 of Ali Fonseca, but he's so far back, but he sneaks his way through. Pilot into drivers, the 24. Contact, we stay green. No, there's the caution. And Ollie for wide power move. And he'll take the penalty after this race, potentially with that contact. I know they were loose and bouncing off one another, but Ollie had to go. He couldn't waste any time.
Yeah, I believe it was him and Bird that made contact down in 1 also. So the 24 not wasting any time trying to make moves to get through, and definitely using those fresher tires to make that move right there. And we'll get to see here, I think, even a little bit of net code, so to say, with this incident, but I think it might have been an incident either way. So we'll get to see this heavy racing here as it was going everywhere.
Yeah.
You see Bird there to the outside wall, and now Fonseca, a huge run loose on the bottom.
You've seen Ollie Fonseca getting that contact that just ships Bird out of the way. And then he's going to see the contact ahead of him. Steele gets pushed up, sending other drivers around. I believe that was Morris that got tapped around. Oh, no, that was Ferraro, excuse me. And just like that, drivers reset, they stack up, and they try again. And Ollie Fonseca, I mean, he's kind of being the spearhead for Justin Campbell, who runs in 15th, will be just behind this 24. He's not having to work those tires as aggressively as we're seeing Ollie just kind of muscle everyone out of the way for him.
That's for sure. I mean, Campbell's saying, all right, this is nice. He's probably starting to get feeling similar to Homestead, where that played out a lot better than he was expecting. So we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, of course, the laps are clicking away, but those tires are going to be a considerable advantage here the farther we get into this run. So we'll see once we get back green what they can do if they make up a few good positions here, get within, say, the top 5, and we get a late race restart, it's game on.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for joining with us. We've had people cheering on in the chat. A lot of Stovall fans hoping for the one to recover as he runs currently in 5th position. Up front, it is Vincent Sora still in complete control right now, with Larry Yingling in 2nd, Danny Cochran in 3rd. I mean, Zach, if you're one of these front runners currently, Sora obviously is in complete control, but if you're 2nd back to 5th, what do you think are your options on trying to even try to fight Sora, who's looked to be the dominant car here of late?
It was shaping up there a couple restarts ago before with Yingling and him. It was getting interesting because I felt like Yingling had found something. He was running a little higher in 1 and 2 and cutting down late on the exit. That really gave him some excellent launches. So I was, kind of waiting for that fight possibly to happen there. But I think that the more these restarts happen, the more control Vincent Sora has to cool down his tires and reset things, and especially even put possibly his teammates side by side with Yingling. That gives him such a bigger advantage. So if I'm Yingling here, I really want this thing to fully run out green, because I think that gives his best opportunity. And same for Cochran, and same for Hunter if they want to get around Vincent Sora, because I don't think you're going to get around him in 2 to 3 laps if we get these short little bursts.
It's going to be very difficult, but here's your first chance to try to gain some positions. It's the choose. Drivers have to choose either be to the left or the right of the second seam. You got the wall, the first seam, and then the second. You must be the left or right to that second seam. And if you are on the line, coming across the start finish line, you will be sent to the end of the line. Race control Nick Crawford has given a warning to Gary Wells after that last restart. 87 placed himself. Wells, where are you going this time? It makes the earlier decision. As further on back, everyone decided to go 3 wide across the line. Not the most optimal way to do the choose further on back, but I know most of those drivers are multiple laps down and are just picking where they are placed on their black box. It's going to be 9 laps to go, and we go green here. This has been a long one for the field. Shorter duration of laps, originally scheduled for 175, 150 is the official lap count for tonight's race. We do have overtime if it's needed, but Vincent Sora wants to become the first driver to be a multi-time winner this season. Is it tonight, or will someone else steal the show? As your Racing Paradise 150 is back underway. Sora, Danny Cochran going to be the front runners on the inside with a great launch for themselves, but Yingling as well as going to be seen Hunter. They try to fight back off the exit of turn 2.
Cochran was able to clear him there. Great move by him. Powered off a 2. Clears the 67, but farther back here, Jacob Morris on the bottom. And you got Jared Talmadge fighting through the middle, trying to find his way forward. But who is going to make the space? That's the question.
Where is the space and where do you go? Driver with the fresh tires is caution further on back. And luckily it wasn't with this cloud of drivers, but it will be the 8 machine of Noah Steele back in 29th position. And looked like he got snapping loose, got a little bit of help. And we are under caution. And that is not what you want to hear or see if you're second on back, hoping for a win. This is perfect for Vincent Sora. As we see here, what brought out the caution. This is going to be coming out of turn 4 when the yellow happens, but a sense of what the 8 was feeling. Not a lot of straightaway speed Noah Steele had, as he's got Aaron Kralik right on that back bumper.
That he does, and I think this is again a case. Cold tires coming up here, as you see Steele was fighting it all the way up where Kralik really just couldn't stay out of him there on the rear end. We've seen it. I mean, he only had 4 laps on the tires there. It just come down pit road. So that is that's a situation where I think cold tires bit the 8, and it's just we've seen it all night when guys put on a fresh set of tires. Off of 4 just gets very, very tough.
And no Steele, one of those that pitted 4 tires under our last caution. Now we get ready for another restart here. We're going to be inside of the regulation before this race is over. Should be close to about 5 to go when we go green. But here's your race report with the final laps remaining here tonight. 15 cautions have been thrown this evening. Luckily, we had that long green flag run in the middle of this race after the halfway marker. We got to run about 20 laps of green flag racing. It was fun to watch, but it's been a lot of cautions, a lot of contact of drivers on entry, running into one another, or drivers snapping loose off the exit. That's been our 2 dynamic cautions throughout tonight. We've had 3 major wrecks that have taken out the majority of the field. And shockingly, looking at those that are still running, we have a total of 29 drivers that are out on track, a few still in pit road. It looks like Steele just entered pit road. He would be our 30th driver out on course. But out of this race, still getting repairs, Christopher Norris, Malik Kuntz, Gavin Rogers, Justin Smith, Thomas Green is out there on track, but he's 31 laps down. Austin Halsey's out of this race. Tyler Horn's out. Mason Cassidy, Jesse Newsom, Nicholas Renner, Ethan Delaire, Colton Jordan, Dakota Moniz, and Jesse Thornick all out of this race. I mean, Zach, it's crazy to say that we've lost like 13 drivers out of this race that are going to take a DNF this evening.
Yeah, it is wild to see that the attrition has been immense here, so to say, tonight. It's been all over the place from drivers, and it's called out a few, and it's going to hurt again in points for a lot of these drivers who finish farther back. I mean, when you finish back here in 41st, 42nd, 43rd, you're getting 1, 2, 3 points right there. I mean, and other guys are getting upwards of 20, 30. So it can snowball when you're getting 1 point in a race compared to other people getting a majority of them.
And, it comes down to strategy when there's only 2 drivers that qualified into the top 10 that currently still run in the top 10. Vincent Sora qualified 8th. He is currently your leader. And Joshua Stovall qualified 10th for himself, and he currently runs 6th. Well, we'll see these drivers making the choose. Where do you want to go? Again, it's that second seam, the middle one. The drivers will make the decision. High, low. You cannot be on that black seam and crossing the start-finish line. Otherwise, you will be hit with an end-of-the-line penalty. Only Fonseca goes low, or rest of the field trying to go slow on where they want to be. And other drivers just backing off. They already know where they want to be, and they will choose their positions. Up front, Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran, Cedric Hunter, Larry Yingling, Joshua Stovall, and Joshua Kanata. Going to be your top 6. It'll be 3 laps to go. Zach, any final thoughts? Because this could be our final restart of the evening.
It very well could be the last one. I tell you what, let's see what the teammates can do. We know Cochran is starving for a victory. He wants one bad, and he knows Vincent's already got one.
And he got one to start the season off. Cochran won during the duels, but he wants an official win. Pace car onto pit road. Your Racing Paradise 150 is back underway. Green flag is out. Vincent Sora, a little bit of wheel spin. Danny Cochran try to keep himself close. Cedric Hunter will be side by side with Cochran down into turn number 1. That's exactly what the 13 needs. Exit to turn number 2. Sora is clear, but the battle for second still fights on with 3, about to be 2 laps to go.
Man, oh man, Cedric Hunter, great restart on the bottom. He's able to stay alongside, but Sora able to slide up the track, and same for Cochran as he's able to fight with a big run off the 2 or 4, and he's able to clear.
Stovall, you saw deking down all the way to the apron, practically trying to find a way to get more momentum to get by the 67. Larry Yingling, not going to be the case. Sora still going to be clear. Battle for second, give it to Danny Cochran in the 0-2. He is clear for now, but crazy to say, Sora, who's been stronger on the long run. Cedric Hunter strong on the long run. Who's got a chance to stop him? Doesn't look like anyone's there. Is it your Morecast? 1 lap to go. Is it Sora, Cochran, Hunter? Wrecking is going to be Joshua Kanata further on back. Same going to be for Stovall. We're staying single file up front. It's chaos exiting turn number 2. But make him the first multi-time winner this season. Vincent Sora, welcome back to victory lane as he wins the Racing Paradise 150.
What a job by Vincent. We've seen him in Iowa before in the Truck Series be dominant. He carries it to this Xfinity car, gets his second win of the season, and what a great job for Cochran also. Same for Cedric Hunter, top 3 right here, beating and banging with the 15, gonna get some love. Same for the 27 coming up, but man, what a wild scene there is. Alpha 2, man, it really started to really pop off, and unfortunate for Kanata because I think he's the one that lost out major right there.
It was basically Kanata around that 7th, 8th place position. They all just scattered backwards trying to avoid him, but it is going to be the 15 of Vincent Sora taking the victory here tonight. There's going to be a lot to digest here this evening, but there's one thing we know for an absolute. The 15 makes a statement here tonight. If you're going to win this championship for the inaugural season, you're going to have to rip it from my hands. Vincent Sora takes his win here this evening, and we will step away. When we come back, we'll have the post-race show. We'll talk to Vincent Sora, the 0-2 of Danny Cochran, the 13 of Cedric Hunter, and a spotlight driver to get their thoughts on tonight's race for the Racing Paradise 150. We'll be back right after this. Well, another race in the books, and Vincent Sora is making his statement. Second win of the season after 4 races so far. And the 15 making it a good one here tonight, winning at the Racing Paradise 150 at Iowa. Let's head to Victory Lane to talk to the 15 machine. Vinny, sorry for taking you away from that one, but congratulations on getting your second Trinity Racing League victory for yourself. How are you feeling after this race? Because it looked like it was a long, grueling one, but when you were up front, it looked dominant.
Yeah, I mean, I feel good definitely getting a win. This is a really good track for me in the truck, and I didn't know how it was going to go tonight. But yeah, I think I had definitely top 3 speed all night. I would love to have seen Thomas and I got to battle it out there. I think him and I were probably the best 2 cars, and Isaac was really fast too. He definitely got caught up in some trouble there. That I think took his head out of the race and kind of caused him to lose focus and get shuffled on back. But yeah, I mean, I'm super happy with another win. Really good point today. My only complaint is probably the amount of yellows we had. This track is so fun when it goes green, and kind of like last week, we just never really got that big long run. But yeah, man, another win and hopefully points leader. So I'm happy.
Definitely a great night for the 15 team. I mean, it was smooth selling, pretty much doing a great job on all those restarts. Take us through coming there to the white flag, because I noticed there was a big moment coming off of 4. Did that kind of wake you up for that last lap?
Yeah, it did. I mean, you guys know I'm terrible at the short run, and I was just trying to build as big of a gap as I could, and it got a little bit tight there coming out of 4, and then as soon as I put more wheel into it, then the back end got light as you go over that little bump, and it kind of just drove me out towards the wall, and I was like, dang, this might be it. This might be how I throw it away. But clean air was just too OP. I knew that I just had to hit my marks down on the 1, and Danny probably wouldn't be close enough, and I know he wouldn't move me anyways. So yeah, a little bit of a moment. Still got to work on the short run speed in these things for sure, and getting all the correct tire temp out of these things and not me sliding them. But yeah, job well done for me, and just got to move on to next week with all the info that I have.
I mean, Vinny, what we're seeing here so far in these first 4 races, tires are so important, but track position is equally important there late. How do you feel personally 4 races in? How are you enjoying the Xfinity car? And is it something that you're enjoying, that you're excited learning forward, or are you just content with the way that it is right now?
No, I mean, I'm definitely excited to, continue to grow in this car and learn. Every week I go into it just with a mindset that I gotta take things slow and figure things out as I go. And I think I did that pretty well tonight. The first run, I definitely didn't have it figured out. And as the race went on, I started to kind of experiment with different things. And I feel pretty confident there that I learned enough to know what to do on a track like this. I don't know really what would be like this, but I'm learning. Last week Homestead was really similar to the way it drives in pretty much anything. So yeah, we got some interesting tracks coming up. I know Kentucky is one of them. Let's see, we got then Chicago Street. I have no clue how road courses are going to be, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And the Nashville Super Speedway, really abrasive on tires, so should be one that I can do pretty decent at. But yeah, like I said, just got to keep learning. Keep on seeing what the guys around me are doing, and hopefully click off a few more wins.
Can't wait to see how you perform, Vinny. Congratulations on this win here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, definitely just first off, all my teammates. Danny had another great run tonight. He might actually still be the points leader because, he finished second. So he's really doing a good job over here. That's really awesome to see him kick it back into another gear. It's really nostalgic, and I just love it for him. And I hope that his win is around the corner because I know he's lost 2 of them now that probably should have been his. So definitely shout out to him. Shout out to all my other teammates. Thomas, he's been getting screwed all season. He's had really good speed. And then Jacob finally had a good run tonight to show for the speed that he's had. So the admins over here, everybody in the league that keeps on showing up, just hope that we can figure out the wrecks that seem to be happening in the back. And yeah.
Well, that will be your 15 machine of Vincent Sora coming away with the win here tonight for your Racing Paradise 150. Vinny, congratulations on the win here this evening, and good luck next week at Kentucky.
Thanks, guys. See you on Wednesday.
As Vincent Sora will continue on his push for a championship on Wednesday nights in the WSSR VRS Cup Series. We'll talk about that more after our interviews as we head to second place. To the driver who continues on his own streak, he finds himself being the only driver to go 4 for 4 in top fives and top tens. Danny, you do it again. I know you're frustrated on the fact that it's not a win, but man, this is amazing to see this O2 up front and seeing you be a competitor up front. This has been a blast for us up in the booth.
Yeah, that's on my mind a lot in the closing laps there. I'm not as upset about this one as I was last Monday, just because of the fact that I didn't have the pace to be there tonight. I was like a solid 5th place car. I mean, I was like still doing all right, but I didn't have podium speed, that's for sure. But cars kind of fell my way. Teammate Vincent gave me those countdowns, really helping out. And until that last one, which, hey, I get it. I respect that. But yeah, dude, he counted me down. We timed those restarts, helped me pick up a couple spots there, and brought the CSR cars home 1-2, Morris P7. So we're looking good for team points this week, looking good for driver points this week. I might still have the lead. I might have lost it to Vince. I'm not sure on that, but yeah, man, we're still rolling right along here in a good spot a few weeks into this new season.
Definitely are, Danny. Congrats on another excellent run, man. Yeah, definitely a good way to close out your night there with a podium finish. But one of the things that we've seen wild all night is definitely, the addition of a choose cone, the ability to pick and choose your lane. Kind of take us through the mentality there, because it kind of becomes way more of a strategic game than what we're used to, of where, you're just kind of set in stone in what lane.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the ability to choose. For some of these guys, it's an inability to choose, and that creates its own mess of problems. But yeah, man, it's really nice because it's not one of those situations, and you see it so much on iRacing, where it's like, oh, dang it, I'm starting third, so I'm going to be stuck on the bottom, and I ain't got a shot to, kind of roll with that momentum that we've seen all night tonight, or 5th, or anywhere on the inside, because the top lane was just so dominant. But, throwing that in there to where you have that choice, and you can get on the top, or if you see a few spots come available, hop down there on the bottom. But yeah, it's really nice to have that option now. Like in my case, having Vinny count me down and we just roll when I got to his bumper. So it's added an element of team strategy that was kind of there before, but not to the extent that it is now. So I'm really enjoying that choose cone so far.
Well, Danny, I mean, yes, you've had incredible finishes. You continue your streak, like I said, of finishing in the top 5 every race so far this season. But we look at where you've been qualifying. You've had a lot of runs of being in the middle of the pack. What is it like trying to survive the middle of the pack, where it just seems like it's a chaos mess of trying to also work your way forward?
It's hell, I mean, simply put. Back there, dude, you were fighting for everything. And you got guys who, I'm going to be as gentle as I can here and saying that they shouldn't be trying to make some moves that they are, and they're driving over their heads and causing problems that don't need to be caused. A lot of that you see from about 15th on back. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of issues up toward the front, but take it from the guy who's been on both ends of it this season. I've yo-yoed through this field more times than I care to count at this point. And I just kind of see some common denominators forcing and causing these issues, usually around the mid-pack. And it just gets old, I mean, seeing them pull those moves and then chime up on the radio saying something cute or rather stupid, and looking at the chaos and mass destruction that they caused. And I shouldn't complain about it too much, because frankly, it helped me. I can't tell you how many positions I've picked up tonight just being able to navigate through these wrecks that 3, 4, maybe 5 guys have caused. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's really frustrating being back there in the mid-pack. Don't get me wrong, you got a lot of great, respectful, clean racers that I enjoy driving around or racing around every week. Driving with them, battling for position, but you got some of them that just have disregard. But yeah, man, it's tough, dude. Every position out there is so hard to pick up. Combination of the car, combination of the track, and everybody, we're all trying to go to the same place, right? So everybody's running you really hard, and I respect that. So yeah, it's anywhere in the field's really competitive, but man, when you get back there outside the top 10, it's like everywhere you're 3, 4 wide, trying to just hold what you got and not getting involved in any incidents.
Well, Danny, we're happy that you were able to survive and make it to the end to come away second here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, you guys for broadcasting, Nick and Josh for putting this show on. I hope they don't get too down on themselves with how tonight went. They're doing a great job so far, and it's a lot of stuff that's outside of their control that they're getting upset about, and I hate to see that. You know, I've kind of got that same experience doing the admin stuff for a little while. So, guys, you're doing a great job. Love the product that you're putting on. Freaky Fast, Sam, Zach, Robert, love the broadcast that you guys are showing. You know, putting this product out there. My teammate Vincent, for counting me down in those restarts. Good win tonight, buddy. You drove a heck of a race. Morris, P7, finally getting one of those finishes he deserves, dude. Morris has been in everything this season, man. He's had no luck whatsoever. And shout out Tom. Tom had a really rough race. I think he ended up on his lid somehow at Iowa. So hated to see that for him. And of course, Larry with Larry Arts Productions. Buddy, I promise you we're going to put this Larry Arts Production midnight car in victory lane at some point, and I'm not going to quit running it until we do.
Oh, we cannot wait to see it in victory lane. Remember to go check out Larry Art Productions YouTube channel and see him trying out the Midnight Baja drink. Danny, congratulations on second here tonight. We might barely see the O2, but there's the 2 there. But congratulations on second, and good luck next week at Kentucky.
Thank you, guys.
As Danny continues on his streak, we head down to third place to talk to Cedric Hunter, who had his own ups and downs, went sliding for a little bit there early on, but ultimately comes away third at the end. Cedric, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. Congratulations on third. I'd imagine that wasn't where you thought you were going to be, especially with how tonight started.
No, I came into this race with pretty low expectations, honestly. Like, I've been kind of feeling a lot of pain in my legs and stuff like that throughout, well, actually the entire day. So I was coming in here really with the idea of just put down laps and, wherever I finish. And that's kind of the way it was going. Like, we qualified decent, which is saying a lot considering I'm a terrible qualifier. But, and then, yeah, we got spun. And then once you kind of get back there, you're pretty much stuck back there with all the cautions and wrecks and all that stuff that happens, from 25th on back. So got really fortunate with tire strategy, I guess, which kind of cycled me back into like the top 10, top 5 range. And from that point on, the mindset my mindset shifted to just kind of just go out there and burn off tires and just push and don't even think about saving, which worked out. I mean, I obviously took over the lead, and that was fun to do. I haven't done that in a while, and I got to control the race for a little bit. And I got to stay up there for the rest of the race. It was a lot of fun tonight.
That's kind of where I was going to go, Cedric. You got to the front there from that track position move. I mean, take us how big a difference it was being up front there to compare to being out in the middle of the pack, because immediately you became a factor.
Yeah, I guess when you're surrounded in the gong show that is the mid pack, it's quite easy to drive these cars. And yeah, that's kind of what we saw tonight. Like, was kind of had mediocre pace, and then when I got away from the slows, it all of a sudden just kind of, gave me an extra 50 horsepower and it took off. So yeah, it was really fun again. It was it was great to have that kind of pace and to be there at the end of these races. I've kind of put a string together now of 3 races in a row where we kind of have mediocre starts and middles of these races, but then at the end we can march our way to the front. So hopefully that keeps going. I see that now I'm top 10 in the points, even though I missed the first race, which is pretty dope. And hopefully, I guess our next goal is obviously going to be to either win or just crack the top 5 in points.
I know, Cedric, we also, when we were talking to Danny, update has been announced. Martinsville will be removed off the schedule. Still waiting on what's going to take that spot. But how does that make you feel, knowing that, a short track's removed off of the regular season that maybe could have been a mess? Does it make you feel a little bit more hopeful of you might get better racing in the future? Or are you still nervous about the short tracks that we still have after Martinsville in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy Martinsville. Like, it's unfortunate that you can't really run it on iRacing, or at least like, I don't know, unless you have a leaks that's specific to short track racing. It seems like everybody else outside of those specific groups of people, just they have no idea how to run short tracks. And we kind of saw that tonight where, at a track that's 5 or 6 lanes wide, guys are still going to the corners and just going for the exact same lane every single time. So um unfortunate obviously that Martinsville got moved. I do enjoy racing that track, even though I'm not particularly great at it, but I don't blame them for doing it. I don't think it would have been a good race by any means. I think you guys would have probably enjoyed from good old overtime broadcast if we did go there. And I guess we'll see where we go. I assume they're probably going to go to 1.5 miles, which benefits me a little bit. But I'm hopeful. I don't know what short tracks there are for the rest of the season, but I'm hopeful that we can clean it up a little bit.
Hoping for that as well. Well, Cedric, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, as always, man. Huge shout out to you guys. Best broadcasters around. Shout out to my entire team, Team 81. Kanata had a really good finish, kind of in line tonight with probably a top 5, and unfortunately just got tagged on the last lap and finished, well, pretty much, I guess, dead last. And shout out to my Cat 5 teammates, pretty much locking up, I think, basically the top 5 for the most part. So good stuff to them. Congrats to Vinny on the win, and thanks to Nick for doing the Eye in the Sky.
Well, that will be your third place finisher here tonight for the Racing Paradise 150. Going to the 13 Hello Kitty machine of Cedric Hunter. Cedric, congratulations on third. Congratulations on being more secure in the top 10 in points. And good luck next week at Kentucky.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
As we move from third place, we'll fall down to 7th, where we'll talk to a driver that we were impressed on how he has grown. Took a bit of time away from racing, but he's back out on track on Monday nights. It's the 23 of Jacob Morris. Jacob, you come away 7th here tonight. Congratulations on that run. I mean, how are you feeling? This has been we've been seeing you up front, getting faster each week. How are you feeling being back out on track with the core group of guys here in the Trinity Racing League?
Yeah, it feels good. It's probably been at least 3 years now since I've league raced, really. So I had a couple rough starts to the season, but it was nice to get out here and finish top 10.
Definitely good to see you finish in the top 10, Jacob. Like even Danny said in his interview, it feels like you've been caught up in everybody else's mess. So do you feel like tonight maybe is a good way to start getting your season rolling in the right way?
Yeah. Hopefully I can build off this. I had a rough time qualifying. Qualified off my first lap, not my second. But stayed out of the wrecks coming through the field. Kind of just saved tires and played it slow, and it worked out at the end.
It certainly did. I mean, Jacob, we're still in the middle of the regular season, and I know you're going to be trying your best to go for a playoff push, but like you noted on, you haven't done league racing for 3 years. What is it like getting back out on track and being thrown really out there in the worst scenario with everyone being so crazy in the middle of the field?
Oh yeah, it was nerve-wracking, especially Daytona and Atlanta. It's taken a little bit getting used to again, but hopefully we can build off this, like I said, and keep momentum to the front. So.
Well, Jacob, again, congratulations on grabbing your first top 10 of the season. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout out.
Yeah, man. Shout out to you guys for carrying on the broadcast here on Monday nights. Nick and Joshua for carrying on the league here on Monday nights after the truck series. Shout out to Danny for getting me back into league racing. So.
We're happy to see you back out there on track, Jacob. Again, congratulations on a 7th place finish here this evening. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Kentucky. As we move on from our interviews, we get ready to take a look at our unofficial results. And really, tonight's going to be unofficial because there are talks and deliberations as one driver that was battling to be inside of the top 10 found himself being disqualified. Ali Fonseca had a contact with Joshua Stovall coming out of turn number 4 that disqualified the 24 and made him fall all the way down to the last driver on the lead lap back in 29th position. We'll see if he gets promoted back up into the top 10 or not, but we do know one thing. That's Vincent Sora will take the victory here tonight. Danny Cochran will come away second with Cedric Hunter in third. Fourth, we find Larry Yingling with Jarrett Talmadge in fifth, Ryan Kelly sixth, and then seventh is where all the chaos really imploded, where Joshua Kanata and many of others fell backwards after a wreck at a turn number 2, where we find Jacob Morris taking that 7th place finish. Justin Campbell going to take 8th. 9th is where the kind of confusion is going to line up. It was Stovall, Ali Fonseca that were battling for 9th and 10th. Stovall will take 9th for now. And Cody Smith, who self-spun, got pushed around, was pushing other drivers around. Zach comes away with 10th at the end of the night unofficially.
What an excellent job by him. And even looking not too far, I mean, Martin Morales comes back from a wreck in 12th. Cody Reed at one point was going a lap down on one of those runs. He finishes 14th. I mean, what a rebound for him. Bird, we saw he got wrecked early. He's going to finish back here in 17th. As you go down the list, it gets more and more nights of just guys that were just caught up in a lot of stuff or involved in it. You know, it is really tough here. I mean, we go down to, 29th, where Fonseca would be the last on the lead lap if it stands. Then from there, I mean, it is 12 laps down from that next nearest driver, Malik Kuntz. So it was chaos that ensued from 30th on back, and a lot of attrition here that caught out a lot of drivers.
Certainly was, and with how much chaos there was, again, admins have officially announced Martinsville. That was scheduled to be race number 10 of the season. Technically, it would have been race number 8 of the regular season based off of major points that will be given out. Will be removed. A different track will take its place. That is to be announced for us. So we might have an announcement next week. We might have an announcement in a month. We know that race number 10 of the season is being changed. But for the drivers up front, I mean, some of them, their week isn't over, nor is our week over, as Iowa will continue to be our destination. But from the old configuration to the new, that's where WSSR's VRS Cup Series takes us for our Wednesday night coverage. I'm excited for this one. There are a lot of playoff implications. Jarrett Talmadge has been parked, meaning there are a lot of points to be grabbed, and someone could be stealing the show to move on to the round of 8. Zach, I know you're out there trying your best to fight, but how are you feeling as watching this chaos and knowing you've got a better chance now with Talmadge being pushed out of the playoff?
Yeah, that helps my case a little bit, of course. Unfortunate to see him go out with, incidents piling up on him throughout the season, but I just know that anything can happen, man. So I'm going into it just hoping I can somehow find a way through. But, if we don't, we still got more races to go out there and get some victories. So it's always a fun battle with those guys. And if you like to enjoy tonight's racing, I think we're going to see some pretty wild racing there too, because there's going to be a lot of things on the line, like Sam said.
You need to point your way in automatically with everyone else showing up. Talmadge would be pushed out, but it certainly makes things a little bit more dramatic. You don't want to miss it. This upcoming Wednesday is for WSSR VRS Cup Series, the cutoff race from the round of 12 to the round of 8. But for us here in the booth, I mean, what a wild night. Again, the admins are going to have a long night with all the cautions, with some of the DQs, and ultimately they know one thing. That's Vincent Sora, first driver to become a multi-time winner in Trinity Racing League's history, and first time for this season. Making history each and every week here on Monday nights with a brand new league. You don't want to miss it. We want to say thank you to everyone that's joined with us this evening. We're going to go down the long list of sponsors because we have to say thank you to every single one of them. Starting things off with Larry Art Productions, the title sponsor of the Trinity Racing League. Thank you for partnering up with us to be the title sponsor all season long. We want to say thank you to our pole sitter sponsor of Blazing Fast TV. Go check out Dakota Moniz's point of view at Blazing Fast TV on Twitch and YouTube. To our grid sponsor, Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios. Go to Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios on Instagram to see their wide range of tattoos and more. I want to say thank you to our halfway bonus point sponsor. That is SG_Racing. If you want to see Samuel S. Garcia's point of view, as he's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch. Again, that's SG_Racing to check out his great content. We also want to say thank you to Hot Lap Designs, who will be giving out the fastest lap bonus point, as I believe tonight that will be Thomas Green taking the fastest lap for himself. Back on lap 43, it was a 23.524 lap time. Congratulations to Tom Screen for that bonus point. We also want to say thank you to our white flag sponsor of Morecast for the one more lap sponsor. We want to go over to @Morecast on Instagram and YouTube to check out Diecast, iRacing Daily Talks, and so much more. And as well, thank you to our Lucky Dog Award winner for the Lucky Cod. Thank you, Cody Reed, for that sponsor. But Zach, any final thoughts before we get ourselves out of here?
Just pretty much, shout out to Vince Sor, second win of the season. Shout out also to league admins here. Like Danny was saying, I know how that can be with these starting off with yellows, but it'll all clean itself up in the end. That's really what it's all about. And they're doing a great job here. And we are definitely enjoying broadcasting up here in the booth.
We certainly are, as we are excited again for the rest of this week. We got more racing action to give you, but next week it's going to be Kentucky week. Both we're going to be seeing the Trinity Racing League and WSSR at Kentucky next week, so you don't want to miss that racing action. But if you can't wait until then to see our next race on Monday night, we've got you covered, as Wednesday night, it's the cutoff race. Who continues on their journey for the Season 11 championship? You'll find out Wednesday night for the WSSR VRS Cup Series. But for this evening, I want to say thank you for joining with us. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else that helps out here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you for joining with us. For all those that subscribe tonight, remember to hit that bell notification to be notified when we go live. But we are so excited to give you more racing action here on Mondays and Wednesdays. It's going to be fun. You don't want to miss it. Wednesday night, the brand new Iowa. Who can survive the new pavement, or who's going to make it to the next round? We'll see you then for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.